Hey guys, this is Jennifer from The Shooter's Mindset. We are live on episode 331. Giving everybody a minute to get in here. I've got my co-host here, Greg Cannon. How's it going?
Hey everyone.
And our guest of the hour, not a stranger to the show and not a stranger to most of the long range crowd on Facebook, Shannon K. How's it going?
Good, guys. What's going on?
Not much. So for the off chance that someone doesn't know who you are or what you do, kind of give a little intro yourself and how you got into competitive shooting and how you became the director of the PRS.
Oh boy, that could be a long one. I'll shorten it. So yeah, I as a California boy, started shooting in the lemon groves in the Inland Valley and around the chicken farms, which is now all multi-million-dollar homes. But I just shoot small birds off trees and just kind of enjoyed it. My folks didn't even know about it with little BB gun and 22s and whatnot. And then obviously when I grew up, and then I went I went in the Army, and then kind of went the sniper path and SOCOM a little bit, and then SODIC, and then back to the schoolhouse, instructed, and drafted some doctrine, and did whatever responsibilities are there. Then it wasn't enough, so I started shooting, probably earlier than most, but definitely not all. And then at least competitively, just hunting for matches, and just happened to be kind of in and out with deployments and military requirements. And that's kind of that's how K&M got started too, as far as training. And then, because you do well match and people, hey, what are you doing? And, at the end of the day, it's, it boils down to the fundamentals, but, it worked, and I kind of stepped with it. I kind of been in and out of the community, especially once I commissioned as an officer, and I took multiple years off competing. When I took the PRS, I essentially took a bunch of time off. So I'm not competing as much as I like, but last year I didn't compete in the finale, just due to the, I guess, what's best in the sport, right? But I think I was fifth or sixth, maybe fourth, whatever it was at one point in the I think going into the finale. So still shooting competitively, just not shooting as much as I want to. But I'm gonna try again this year. So I shot a match last week and shot a match I think 2 weeks ago. And I'll make a couple across the country this year and kind of pop my head in and let people let people know I'm still around. I'm just not the best self promoter. Like to do a lot of things behind the scenes, and I think that's how since Rich started the PRS back in 12, and the guys and the different groups that took over afterwards, been involved helping those guys out behind the scenes and putting a lot of effort into it, and essentially got drafted 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, whatever it was, to kind of right the ship from guys that were running it, that no longer had the I guess the driver motivation to see it through. And I can't say it's me, but because I got the best partner out there, Jewel. Everyone knows Julie at this point now. She deserves all the credit, but her, and in fact, we have our whole team now because we're growing rapidly. The past years have gone so fast, and we've seen the sport grow so fast, especially the PRS. And it was never the plan. Hey, I'm going to retire from the Army, and this is what's going to happen. It just all kind of worked out, and a lot of mentoring through different guys, and so now here we are, and PRS is growing this season. With COVID last year and amateur forms this year, the season's going remarkably well across the board. We got the rimfire thing in full steam now. So I'm excited to talk to you about that with you guys.
Awesome. So how has that season been going? I mean, you say it's going well. Has the ammo shortage affected the PRS season?
I don't think we see it yet with the 2-day series. I can only imagine if we didn't have COVID and the supply chain was stable enough to provide for the demand or false demand that we're seeing now. But war had 160 or so shooters. The Texas Leopold Classic had 171, Frontline over 100, 104. Clay's match had 108. The California match had 6 or 70, which is on par for them. But I've been telling people who've been asking, I do think our numbers are great. And if you look at some of the other series that are out there, they're not talking about their numbers, and there's probably a reason why for it. There's some new concepts and things out there, but I do expect to see, and we might see a little bit already in the one-day matches. I know shooters, because we get the notes, we get the emails. I know shooters are concerned, and are being more selective with their matches, because they don't know if they can replace ammo. They want to make certain matches. So we haven't seen that in the Pro Series yet. I do expect to see it by summertime. And in fact, I sent a draft note out to a lot of people in the peers community, kind of stating that is my thoughts. I hope I'm incredibly wrong, but it's working pretty well. And honestly, I don't know with our rimfire matches. I said, hey, it might take a year or two, but the rimfire matches are going to exceed the centerfire matches, and we are within 50 matches of the rimfire being actually bigger than the one day. And historically, we have 300 to 400 one-day matches across the country. So without having a full year under our belt, not even a finale, the rimfire thing has taken off and is doing really well. I think people like the concept, the rules, the freedom to let the match directors and the shooters decide, what's best. And so that's been good. Brian Autry, he was our rimfire director. You guys probably got to get Adam Leonberger. Brian had some life changes, work and some family things he had to deal with, and he did a phenomenal job. So I hate to lose him, but Adam has stepped up. He's a Red Brush mass director up there, and has done a phenomenal job helping the PRS with that. So I will yield all rimfire stuff to Adam for a future episode, if that's okay.
You got any insider information on getting some ammo?
Yeah. So
or components?
Yeah. So let all your shooters know, like, hey, check it out. Here's buy what you need, and only that, and allow for the supply chain. It's not like these manufacturers aren't producing it. It's not like the manufacturers aren't, they exist to provide a product and to produce a profit. And so if they could produce more, they would. The conspiracy theories out there, Jen, are just, that's crazy. I mean, it's just, guys, it is what it is. Are there people out there taking advantage of it? Sure. Is there something we could do? We get requests all the time, almost every day. Hey, you guys got to use the PRS, man. You got to talk to the companies. And I'm like, yeah, what are we going to tell them? Treat us differently than your other distributors and retailers that are good industry partners for you on a whole different segment. There's no win there. The win there is there's a false demand right now. People are hoarding, people are overbuying because it's not available. We've seen it before. But if people also need to think, if they're a bean counter, are we going to invest multi-million dollars in new factory when has the amount of shooters all of a sudden increased tremendously in the past 6 months that we're starting to see this? No, it hasn't. Has it grown? Sure. Have the manufacturers accounted for that? Sure. They're running more lines. They're doing everything they can with what they have, but there's no clear path. There's no clear trajectory to be like, oh, we need to increase our capacity because there's this crazy demand. There's not a crazy demand right now. There's a normal demand right now, but there's a false demand because people, it's just like toilet paper. COVID came, guys, I'm sorry. Just because COVID came doesn't mean we all started pooping more. Why were we out of toilet paper for so long? It's just a hoarder's mentality, and that at a very large scale, and it's disrupted it. The manufacturers are doing what they can. At the end of the day, we got to work a little harder for our stuff. We got to be diligent. I think people should share and do it the best they can, and hopefully in 6 months, but it'll probably be a little bit more. We'll see some beginning signs of normalcy, but hopefully in about 12 months we'll see some normalcy as all these big orders that we all have in get canceled and things kind of level off and people get what they want. So there's nothing special we could do. We've been actually very conservative. I've talked to a lot of the manufacturers what they could do, and they're doing certain programs with some PRS match directors at a small scale and to help shooters out. But it's a double-edged sword there. So they have a lot of a lot of alliances that are important for sure. So
I know there's a couple of the regional directors that I've seen post things about, if you want to get primers or whatever, put your order in now. We're trying to order bulk. So they're trying to help out the shooter.
yeah, there is more going on, and people need to understand that the guys in the marketing departments that they may see out shooting, and the guys in the sales department and the production, and there's a lot of moving pieces like there is for any company. So I know there's some close hold stuff. I do know there's some efforts across the board with certain companies. I won't say them, to try to take care of and show some good faith to the PRS shooters. And I think Jim in Alabama's got some stuff going on. There might be some other options, but I think these guys are waiting to have some product in hand before they say, hey, here's what we got. And I know that I think some of the intent was that, like, hey, make sure they're a PRS shooter, not for this year, but they were a PRS shooter last year, and they were shot matches. So it kind of, without getting into the weeds and getting sideways on it. So anyway.
Yeah, like I know Jim in Alabama, and I'm sure that had something to do with Jason from Federal. Last year, the last match there, I walked in, I'm like, is that a table full of primers right there? So that's why I am still shooting right now, because of him.
Yeah, I mean, so Jason's been awesome. He's been doing at the finale there was a ton of primers. We're trying not to get sucked up into it, right? Because no matter what we do, it'll be like, oh, you give it to your buddies. Like, hey, we don't want that. So these different match directors, everyone before, and I was in charge of that one, and so it's out there. There's good faith effort, but at the end of the day, I think it's going to be something that you're not going to make everybody happy, but the PRS community is not being ignored. People, the manufacturers, know that we don't shoot to have it sit in our shelves for a rainy day or for political reasons or to resell really at a profit. We shoot to consume, and they understand that loyalty and that as well. They recognize that we're different than the average hunter that buys 2 boxes of ammo or spends a few $100s a year, or guys are spending thousands. They get that, but they're balancing out. I'd say by and large, like, people need to understand that coming from me and from them, they are doing everything that they can. If they could sell primers, if they could sell bullets, and they could sell powder, they absolutely will. And they're trying, and they're doing everything they can, and everything's running as efficiently as they possibly can given the conditions. So, guys, we're going to have to weather the storm, and we're going to have to be patient. I mean, I see it in my training classes. Guys are showing up with like 3 different lots of ammo, different bullets. I'm like, guys, this whole sport is reducing variables. And, we're trying to teach you these things and fundamentals, and you're bringing all these variables, you're adding to it. Shooting's hard enough without doing that. So, it's going to be tough, but we got through it before, right? Most people don't notice because they weren't shooting back in the Obama era of the same kind of thing. We got through before, and we'll be okay. And then next thing the people that are gouging and being silly will be shunned, and maybe rightfully so.
Yeah, and you brought up a good point there about how, or what PRS shooters are doing with whatever they can find versus what other people are. I'm in a local Facebook that's like a chat group for gun guys, and there's always, when I first got in it was honestly a lot of pretty good deals, and especially deals that you could be sitting there at dinner time and be like, oh, this guy wants to sell this, yeah, let's go buy this after dinner. And now there's the people that for some reason have nothing to do during the day. I'm assuming they're unemployed or retired or something, and they go to Academy and they buy everything that's on the shelf, and in the afternoons you get a post with like ridiculously high sky high prices and crazy people buying it. But then if you look at some of the PRS groups, I've seen a couple of times people that are like, hey, I'm 100 short of this for this match. I need 20 primers if I'm going to shoot this weekend. And it's people are like, oh yeah, I'll give you some, or, oh, I could sell you a box for what I paid for it in 2019. So PRS shooters are doing a good job at taking care of each other any way they can.
Yeah, I think they are. I think we all need to, will it affect match attendance? Sure. But what guys want to shoot. If we, we are close to, let me see, we're close to Where's our membership? So we're almost over 3,000 members already. So we have grown already, and it's April. The guys up north are just kind of getting warmed up. Of course, the guys down in the Sun Belt, we're maybe have a match or two. Guys are anxious to shoot. Guys want to do it. Will it affect our numbers? Sure. Does it affect our memberships? No, our memberships are up. So we're trying to, we have more matches out there than ever. So, I wish I could wave my magic wand and put fairy dust on it, make it happen. But unfortunately, this is kind of what happens. And, if people voted a little bit more thoughtfully, maybe this wouldn't have happened, or not so severely. But we're all, support the Constitution and all the amendments, especially second amendments, and then obviously I think there's so much that goes into it. There's the firearm sales have increased, not probably because of COVID, but as much as all the unrest last year. The lack of support from law enforcement, which has nothing to do with the PRS, but it does in a second and third order effect, in the sense that if gun sales are up, then that false demand, or that's not a false demand, that's actually a true demand. That true demand, obviously with guns comes ammunition. So if there's always new gun buyers, which there's been record gun sales again, that's going to hurt it. I mean, that's going to hurt us who do this, either for a living or for as a support. So, we blow with the wind as well, as far as the political and supply chain of what happens in America. So, if people just buy what they need, it'd probably be over faster, but people aren't going to, because if they see something come up, they're going to buy it. That's why I think the retailers that are limited to, hey, 2 jugs, only a certain amount of bullets, I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. I think try to get a little bit, let's all try to work together, do our part. You see somebody gouging, hoarding, and they should be politely chastised, I suppose, if that's the correct terminology.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any lives, Greg?
Oh, there are a ton of lives. I don't even know where to start with all of this. I don't think I really have anything.
All right, well, we'll jump into rule changes.
We'll jump into rule changes.
Yeah.
Any good questions, put them in the chat, and then you can ask them when we
get. So I think if you look at our sport, guys, and everything that is influenced by us, which is a lot of not all, but a lot of the precision rifle world out there, we have a lot of good influence. We have a lot of shooters from shooting sports that are either that are coming over, and so I get flooded with tons of different influences from lessons learned from other shooting sports, and I've been relying on those heavily. But one thing this year, as far as rules, we've always been very adamant as far as updating the rules. Now, we don't make that public until it's hashed out and it's done, and then every year we let the shooters vote on the rules. And we don't get a lot of feedback actually from the shooters. We do. And the shooters that actually give us feedback, if it's something that's well thought out, I actually call them. And there's shooters out there that are like, oh, dude, you just called me up. I'm like, yeah, because I want to hear their perspective, because we have all these kind of mini cultures across the country that react in different ways. But I do think as it gets more competitive, and there's 20, 30, maybe even 40 guys and gals that are shooting at a high level that can win any match that they go to. We need to change our culture. Yes, we're outlaw. Yes, we don't want to influence the different matches. We all go to different matches because of how the match director puts them on and combined with the scenery. But we all want to play under the same rules, and we want competitive fairness. And in the age of, if I don't get what I want, I'm going to go cry on Facebook and tell my side of the story. That's unfortunate. So how do we fix that? Well, if those people are bad sports, we could ask them to leave. But I think a better approach, and is what I kind of had a conversation with the match directors the past few weeks, is we need to have a culture of reference. So Jan, if you're out there shooting a stage and you're at K&M, right, and someone the next stage over calls a ceasefire, and maybe he did it too loud, or, he saw, young kid getting too close to fire line. It was safety, whatever. So the target goes down and the guy says ceasefire and you got disturbed and whatever. That's not your fault, right? So, oh, Jen, okay, yeah, you get a reshoot. Okay, that's fair, right? And that could happen, right? Or the prop breaks, something simple. Hey, the prop fell over, the barrel rolled down range, whatever. What happened at my match, but let's just say it did, right? So that goes on. Instead of saying, "Hey, Jen, no, that's my fault. We need to give you a reshoot." Just be like, "No, Jen, on page whatever, page 20, paragraph 3.5 reshoots. Here's your options that you have, and re-reference it. And then the shooters need to demand it, or the shooters need to know it and reference it as well. When we do that, that's going to create a much better culture of fairness and standards, and kind of get away. We're big and we're growing every day, but we're also small. We see a lot of the same people, a lot of these matches, especially regionally. And all that back talk, there's a lot of people, I don't like that guy, he doesn't like me, whatever. Like, no, like you guys deal with that. The PRS, we want to deal with rules. We want our match directors to know the rules. We want our shooters to know the rules. We want the ROs to know the rules. That has been in the rules forever. But I think we could do a little bit better. So we actually required the match directors as a rule change. We just put it out a week or so ago, that anytime they give you a ruling, if I'm going to DQ you, Greg, and I'm going to say, "Hey, Greg, you had an ND. Greg, you're done for the match. I'm going to DQ you. Come back next time. Hate it for you." And you say, "No, well, it was my trigger." And I say, "Okay, well, fine. Let me see if I could create this malfunction again." If I could recreate it and I'll be like, "Hey, you know what, Greg, roger that. That's correct. This rule, this paragraph number, this subparagraph number, I repeated this mechanical malfunction. If you fix it, you could come back and shoot, but you're going to get a whatever point you have for that stage." That culture of reference takes out any kind of drama, any kind of judgment calls. There should be very, very little judgment calls. The rules should be structured a way where it's a fair playing field for people across the sport. So, that was kind of the last couple of weeks, and I think it was a really good improvement. And we're getting more calls from match directors, and guys are really engaging, because at the end of the day, the shooters might realize, but the match directors, they care, and I know they could, and they know the shooters care. At the end of the day. So I'm happy with the response and the voting numbers on that. So I'm hoping to see that sticks and kind of upticks our culture as everyone referencing the rules opposed to what they feel. So
yeah, I'm that's one of the things I'm a big fan of generally all the PRS shooters that I've ever encountered are very fair with everybody, and they try and be very sportsmanlike. But it's nice to have it written down someplace that this is what happens when.
Yeah.
That's one thing that just makes everything more fair, because you don't have to rely on good sportsmanship, which I hope we never lose in our sport, and just generally nice people.
Yeah, and I think by and large people are, do people lose their minds sometimes and get caught up into online and social media? At the end of the day, guys, like, it's awesome, man. I've won a bunch of PRS matches. That's cool. I haven't won a bunch of PRS matches too. You know what? Nobody cares except for me. But I think you combine this is a competitive nature that people have, some of the negative influences of attention online, and then just our culture now is it's me, and there's been things that happen behind the scenes where, like, hey man, this is what needs to happen, or because we have that in the rules too. If you're not a good sportsman and it keeps coming across my desk, i.e. match directors bring it up, well then I'm going to have a conversation with that shooter, because it just taints the sport, and that's not what people want. So, but at the end of the day, guys, we can't everything in the PRS can't come to, the PRS director level, or, Adams level, or even a regional director level. The match directors and the shooters need to have that same authority to enforce the standards, on the spot. We can't be everywhere, and all that is actually in the rules. Like, the shooters are required to know the rules. So if the shooters do something incorrect, that is on them. If the RO is required to know the rules, they do something incorrect. We have redundancy across the board, and ultimately the match directors, the is that person. So whatever the topic may be, we're all going to make mistakes, and we'll underwrite any honest mistake every single day, because everyone knows no one's perfect. Every single match I run, I make a mistake. I hope it's not the rules, but I make a mistake in, stage difficulty, or, what I was trying to test or train or whatever. At the end of the day, I think we all could get a little bit better, and we still have some residual, hey man, we're a bunch of buddies, we're getting together to shoot. Now, we never want to lose that culture of outlaw and buddies and all that stuff, but since it's more competitive, we just need to hybrid those two together. And I think the guys are doing a phenomenal job. So, so that was one thing that was recent. I mean, obviously, at the beginning of the year, we increased the optic to 2,500. I don't know the last time we talked, and so that included a lot more optic choices, not just for different brands represent themselves, but also for the shooters shooting production. And then, last year when I shot, this was kind of, some of the shooters from a different discipline, I won't mention his name, as they came in, you get a handle on this. I'm like, okay. And I noticed when guys were using stopwatches that every time it was close, like time, bam, time always went to the shooter. And that worked for a long, long time. But at the end of the day, teams are so competitive now. And you see these matches where inches decide the, first through 10th. And, we had to get that right. And having instituted shot timers, we're all of a sudden magically we're figuring out, like, hey, not everyone that goes off right at the buzzer is under that point, that 0.3 to whatever the time the match director's deciding. So I think that was a really good rule to set standards, and then and ensure fairness. And then we obviously updated the production rifles. And guys, we tried so hard to be all inclusive, and do we want the big companies? Sure. But we also want the smaller gunsmiths to do production. And we had the rules structured that way. And, lo and behold, no good deed goes unpunished, and some things got a little sideways. And so the committee voted to, like, okay, let's have a more robust verification. It makes it easy because now you have to be a manufacturer, ATF. You got to submit your paperwork to us. You have to have your name on the action. And so it makes that manufacturer commit. On the downside, there might be some smaller gunsmiths that might be a bridge too far. But when it comes to, things that are potentially unfair or different rules, we got to fix those, and we did. So, that was unforeseen, and I think it's, we got it covered now, but it was unfortunate then, obviously, after the finale. So
Mike asked, speaking of that, he said, will we see the production class increase to allow AIs to shoot in the production class, asking for a few friends? And he followed up with, maybe you should make a true production class and a fake production class.
Yeah, so I think a lot of guys on Facebook, which is awesome. I think a lot of guys, because of the other sports that kind of influence our rules a little bit, see production classes as certain things. And because it has evolved before my time in the PRS, production classes in the 2-day series is one of our smallest divisions. It's much bigger, actually, regionally than it is nationally. But it's probably our most influential, and it's really helped us bridge that gap and open up partnerships. I'm not talking about sponsorships. I'm talking about communication and influence with a lot of different manufacturers that 2 years ago were not paying attention to what we were doing on the firing line. Now they absolutely are, and we're working together, and they're accepting that influence, and and they want to use the PRS to be informed, to make decisions, and to produce rifles for the long range market. Whether it's PRS shooters or not, they want to use the PRS to leverage that. So I don't see the rules in production changing anytime soon. I don't think there's an appetite for it. I just don't see an appetite for it. I mean, at the end of the day, when you look at the 2-day, now 1 day is totally different. Typically, guys that shoot 1 days, not all, but many are stay local, generally local to home, stay within a region, shoot once, go home, not a hotels, not a lot of travel fees. the guys that go to 2-day matches, they get to spend and commit a lot more. It's a much more higher commitment. And so I think that naturally progresses them to open, because if you're going to spend that much money, I don't want to leave, they might have that mindset. I don't want to leave anything on the table. I want what I want, how I want it. Okay, fine. But there's a lot of guys. I mean, you see it. There's a lot of production guys that are in that top 10, top 5, top 20 routinely. And, why people, some people have a disdain for it, Jen, right? Like, I don't believe it. Like, if you're telling me today in 2021 that you could get a MPA or a $2,500, PPR from GA Precision, like, are you crazy? Like, you could get a Manor stock, a custom barrel, a custom action, trigger tech, you get all these things for $2,500 when most of our rigs are 4,000, plus. That's a good thing for the sport, and so we're going to stand behind that for sure. So,
are y'all gonna vet the production class shooters at the beginning of the match? I know there was a little issue at the finale, with kind of after the fact. Are y'all gonna try to rectify that? Are y'all gonna examine people's equipment before, or how are you gonna keep that?
Yeah, so I thought about that. Like, it's already in the rules, but it probably needs to be more mandatory, right?
I mean, in IDPA, I know they make them put their pistol in a box, right? It has to fit the box. So they at a national match before, you got to put it in the box and prove that it fits. So
so I think I think we need to. I think it's getting to that point. I think any given day when something happens, like happened in the finale, whatever the truth is, fine. We're not going to hash that out here, but at no point, we want to celebrate people achieving, winning, placing well, especially after a year-long dedication to the sport. When something like that comes up, it's not good for the shooters, it's not good for any of the shooters that are involved. And so we're actually looking to make that mandatory for our 2-day matches, but there's already verbiage in there that requires it. But now we're essentially going to have to look at mandating it. So I'm talking to some of the match directors right now, and we kind of want to look at, how do we want to implement that? They have to vote on it. None of the match directors want to, have issues in their matches. So I don't think it's hard. It's just a matter of finding the right verbiage of what we're going to do. So I could expect something to on the match director side to hey, this is what's going to happen. Come see me. Hey guys, before you get to stage, you're shooting production or attack, come see me. You know what I'm saying? And burn 10 minutes. Let them get to their stage 5 minutes, late, and verify that ahead of time. And then, spot check ammunition or chronograph as needed. I know I've done that at the finale at K&M. I grabbed them all. They're all in the same squad. Here you go, guys. Come here. Give me 2. And I popped them through. You know what I'm saying? Guess what? No big deal. Those little things randomly, or routinely. If you do routine things routinely, then all of a sudden, you're doing things well. So, but the bigger thing of all those that we talked about is recognizing the classes in the Pro Series. We're getting so many shooters, so many registered shooters. We only want to recognize people. We're seeing bigger gaps, from the newer shooters to the guys that are competing at a high level. And so how do we give everyone their due? And those classes are being recognized with trophies and recognition every match now. That was actually put in 2 years ago. We gave them a year to digest it and be prepared for it. And now every 2-day match and every Pro Series match should have trophies and recognize those guys. However, we are seeing that there's some problems with it. And so everyone who's took some time off shooting, like you, Jen, you're taking off this year, right? Maybe a little bit. You might lose your classification. The match directors don't have it yet, but I'm going to go back to the match directors. And once you achieve a class, you will always have to stay at that class.
No, I want to go back to amateur.
Yeah. So
next season, Jen top AM every match.
I think there was a shooter that took some time off, didn't compete, whatever. And the way our system is now, because it made sense for a website and coding and cost, we need to get that fixed. So that is working. I just got to take it to the match directors. I got to draft it up, and I have a draft already. I just need to find 5 minutes to do it. So,
Greg, there's a lot of lives, so hit some.
There are.
Yeah.
First, kind of on what you're talking about. Do you think there will ever be a way to have just like, people show up on the website as inactive, but what their current class is? I know I've talked to people before that were like, trying to see how they stack up against all time. And they're like, oh, well, I don't remember what this person, what they shot in this because they're retired and not a member anymore.
Yeah, y'all kicked me off.
We didn't kick anyone off. Everyone's information is there. Look, listen, if we kicked anyone off, you would have a phone call from me. Do you have any phone calls I made? The big bad Shannon K, like 2, so, okay. So Greg, what are they asking?
So like, for example, Jen kind of like taught me how to do this and, got me into it. And at the end of the last season, I was like, wonder how I place compared to her. But since she's not planning on shooting 2 days this year, she didn't bother to go ahead and sign up. And I can't see if I actually beat her for last year in the season or not, because she's disappeared from the website since she didn't sign up.
Yeah, so we have some archive information. I mean, I guess what I need people to do is send us a note and tell us what information they want. So if Jen, she's taking a year off, maybe she didn't sign up for a membership. Oh man, I lost my profile. She actually didn't lose her profile. She just can't access it, or no one else could access it. But if she would go back to every single match that she shot, she would still be there. And her information's right there. It's just, I guess it's where the cutoff point is, the way the coding is. Like, people think it's easy, but if you look at every other precision rifle shooting sport that's keeping score, they're still using Excel, right? Which means it's very manual intensive. Now, if they're small, which many of them are, it's fine. But it's all the coding that Travis has is very custom and manually written. So it's well beyond my small brain, right? So I'd have to have a conversation with him. So all you shooters out there, if there's like, hey, I'm in and out, life gets in the way, I had a baby, work, whatever, I still like to see my information. Break that down for me exactly what you like, and I will see if it's feasible. Because I don't think we don't have the PRS doesn't have an issue you see in all your scores, right? We just won't keep your scores without a membership. I guess that's the line of the sand as we're talking. But so I need to, I guess I need to get my head wrapped around it, but it's not like we're being close hold on that. So it's something we could look at within our systems, right? We have to work within it, right? So it all comes at a either time or cost we have to look at. So
like from a lot of part of my job is talking to really smart people that like write hard code and translating from normal human to that. If you could tell the minds that be on how the website works, that it would be awesome if like, if somebody was inactive, instead of making them not show up, just have it say, currently inactive or something. And obviously it's not going to continue to track the scores while somebody's inactive, but if
it does. Like Jen, if you go on right now and you try to look up Jen, or you try to log in, it'll say, hey, you're inactive, go ahead and log in, but your profile and all your stuff is still there. So that's there. But you're saying that, Greg, if you wanted to go see Jen, you couldn't see her right now. You couldn't even find her.
Right. So like same thing with, I had a couple other people bring up the same points with me, is that they were trying to, look and see how they stacked up against this person that they shot with. They're like, I wonder how I shot versus, the guy that taught me how to shoot 3 years ago. And they get in there and they can't see his profile to go and look, to say like, oh yeah, I shot the K&M match and I shot 73%. And I'd love to see what my mentor shot, years back. It's not real easy to see it. So if they like kept that on there somewhere where it was still viewable to everybody, but obviously I know one of the advantages of membership is having your scores tracked against everybody else and seeing where So
No, but that's the thing. I mean, I think so. People sign up. Okay, fine. They don't. Okay, fine. I mean, right now we're, I think across the board 60-ish% of people do that. When it's optional and you're having 60%, that's pretty darn good, right? So, I think what we need to do. I don't. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, man, if Jen signed up for her scores back in 2020. She should always be able to go back and see her scores. She paid for that year, right? I think that's reasonable to me. I just need to figure out. I need to figure out what you guys are looking for. Is it matches? Is it standings? Is it end of year standings? And then figure out get with the guys that are smarter than me, Andrew and Travis, and be like, okay, how do we do this? How do we fit it into our website? How do we get this information? Because I know we have it because I reference it routinely. So, yeah, that's too easy. So I got some notes. Who sent that note? That's a good note. Who was that? Was it Jen?
I don't remember who. So so that, Jen had the question, and then I forgot who I was talking with at a match like last year about it. But I think I have a pretty good idea. I'll follow up with you later this week.
Okay.
On kind of a couple of ideas and see if we can get something going with that. Let's go through a couple of the live ones, and I kind of touched on this one. Wade asked, what is the benefit of joining the PRS? Is it just the points tracking, or is there other cool benefits there?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, you want to be part of the sport, you want to support the sport, you can. I mean, there's member discounts. There's, obviously you get a T-shirt, you get your scores tracked, and
hold up, T-shirt.
Yeah. That's
hey, when we get
well,
that's because you haven't sent me this year's yet, Shannon. When am I getting this year's?
I haven't. Yeah. So everyone thinks these are so easy. Like, hey, dude, like, I paid you $40. You have this complicated website, and I want my T-shirt, and I want some free shit. And it's just like, dude, you gave me $40. Like, how about I just give you your $40 back? We'll call it even. No, Julie, God bless her heart, is working with Nylon. Nylon does a great job with that. Obviously, with COVID and supply and all the different challenges that been, the shirts are rolling. We approved the design. They're coming. We just got to get the codes from Nylon, and then we'll blast them on your guys' profiles. But no, I mean, if guys don't want to shoot, if guys don't want to be a Fierce member, guys, you know what? Like, you're not hurting anybody except yourself at the end of the day in the sport. But at the same time, in other contexts, like if a guy's a local guy and he just shoots, he's in Wisconsin and he just shoots, Ken's match up in Wisconsin because it's awesome, and he's not traveling, should he get a membership? Like, well, no, probably not. Like, go shoot the match, so it depends what you want to do. Like, there's not like, there's a lot of people out there, a lot of distractors are like, oh, guys, do what you want. Like, it's not gonna, the training's gonna run. Like, you're not gonna do anything to hurt it. Like, those questions are loaded to me because I don't, my kids, like if they swim, they can't even practice or go to a swim meet without being part of the USA swimming. That covers the territory. Okay, fine, like no big deal. And it's stupid money. It's a couple $100 a year minimum. Okay, cool. Let's go into the sport, and our Olympic athletes, fine, whatever. It's the same thing in PRS. I mean, it's a lot cheaper, obviously, but it's like, hey, man, we're keeping score, we're managing matches, we're helping provide prize tables, we're doing all these things for you, you're benefiting, and I don't like trying to sell it. It should sell itself. If guys don't want to sign up, guys, please don't sign up. Go shoot a match and support your local match director. That's awesome. It works. But if they're going onto the website and they're gathering information and they're using the committees and all the match directors' organizational efforts, that's what it is. Should it be mandatory membership? Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of shooting sports require that. We should have done that, but we didn't, and we won't. So, that's the structure we inherited. But it is what it is, and it works right now at this point. It's fine. We hired some more staff this year, changed some structure. Put a per score fee on there, and that took care of our extra tech guy like you, Greg, and Christy, and now we're able to be much more responsive and much more fluid. So when I hear those, Greg, I just I don't understand the context, man. If you don't want to, I'm not forcing you. I'm not asking. You know,
Yeah,
we're
no.
gonna ask, you know.
So I think he was just trying to get you. You know, we started talking about memberships a little while ago, and I think he was just trying to get you to talk about some of the great advantages of being a PRS member.
I mean,
so like for example, you know, we were talking before the show about how I've been having trouble finding bullets, and you know, GA Precision posted some up for sale, and you know, tried to order them and wasn't even thinking. I was just like, oh, my bullets! Oh my god, buy now, buy now, buy now! And you know, GA Precision. Love you guys. Your website is not the best for high traffic. And when you post that you have Burger 105 hybrids online, it will kind of shut your website down. So I called, and I don't remember the lady's name. She was absolutely freaking awesome on the phone. She processed my order for me over the phone, and she's like, wait, you said you wanted to get these to shoot a PRS match. Are you a PRS member? I'm like, I am. And she goes, oh, well, we got to remember to take our 10% off. Didn't even think about it, but 10% off of bullets just because I'm a PRS member.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, if you have it, for most shooters, if you spend $1,000 a year and you're getting 10% off, your membership, your 2-day Pro Series membership just got paid for. Mm-hmm. Because between all the different vendors and manufacturers are out there, your membership would be paid for in discounts. So when you look at that, like, and I'm not the best salesman on it because it's just, you know, I'm not. But guys, you want to shoot, come shoot. If you don't, you know, we're going to let our product and our leadership speak. Like, we're not going to be like, oh, high pressure salesmen and get on top of the roof. But if you look at that and you look at everything that's provided in the organization behind, you know, our 4 different series that we have, well, 5 really, you know, and you know, that's going to come from somewhere. So yeah, man, join a membership, get a t-shirt, get a bunch of discounts, get your score track, be part of it, support the cause. And if you don't, okay, man, like, I don't think I've ever been to a PRS match and be like, hey, Greg, hey man, you get your PRS membership this year. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just,
yeah, no. So to be honest, it really is. It's a bit more expensive than, say, you know, a USPSA yearly membership or something, but the benefits are pretty good. I mean, you can't buy a t-shirt for under $20, and I'm not gonna lie, the t-shirts are pretty dope. And then, you know, the discounts and being able to see how you stack up in all the scores and everything, you know, it's definitely worth it for me. You know, and you have the regional memberships and the Rimfire memberships.
There's stuff for all levels. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, if you're a Rimfire member for $30, you get your scores tracked and you get a free t-shirt. For $40, you're getting your scores tracked and free t-shirts on with discounts. You know, you shoot the Pro Series, which is our most labor intensive, so the cost is higher. You're getting all the same things. So, you know, I think we got the model as good as we're going to get right now, given our culture. I don't expect any changes on that. Believe it or not, we don't have a whole lot of new initiatives planned for the rest of this year. I think the AG Cup is going to be awesome. I know we're going to get to that in a little bit, but things are good. We just need ammo. We just need ammunition. Last year was COVID, and this year it's ammunition. So, Jen, if you're not shooting, cough it up.
I don't have any either. That's part of the problem. All right. Well, I have an anonymous question, and it kind of leads into the next question that I had on the show notes. Anyway, so there is something called the International Precision Rifle Federation that is being developed and planned. So we were going to talk about that a little bit, and I have someone that asked the question, if I can get back to it. Are you willing to talk about the email that went public where there was some back and forth with Scott Satterlee and the IPRF and you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, okay. So from the get-go, if international, it won't matter to America. An international organization will benefit, especially our international, you know, partners significantly, depending on what country they're from, what their host laws are. You know, we're on our own, right? Hey guys, do whatever you want. You want to be a nonprofit, you want to be for profit, guys, go shoot. Like, our states and our governments don't get involved. They might have some regulations on the gun laws, but they're not getting involved in shooting sports. Well, other countries are very, very different. They can get funding, or in some cases, they need that recognition to be recognized to compete legally. So we are blessed. So most Americans, other than the ones that just want to pay attention to a business that's not theirs or drama, most Americans are mildly interested, right? So we knew that this organization 2 years ago was starting to get some traction. Started on Facebook Messenger. I'm not a Facebook guy. That's not how I do business. I'm email. Like people will send me a message, hey, you didn't get back to me. I'm like, yeah, I did, but if you send me an email, you get back to you like in 12 hours or less. There was people involved that were very, anti-PRS, and it was just like, man, and there was a whole thing like, what is this for? And do I want to leverage this? No, with this light division that we have in the States, do I want to be part of this? It appears remove ourselves 2 years ago. We saw this time bomb coming, and that's why it's so predictable. So, what we received was like, hey, this is what we're doing. And I sent an email back. I think it was that same email. I think it was the only one. And I was like, hey, dude, I just sanctioned you as a PRS South Africa. You're the principal organizer for IPDF. You've used PRS to leverage in your country to be recognized and to prevent others from getting that. You've now replaced PRS with South Africa, whatever, International Precision Rifle Association. I'm like, hey, man, that's kind of a shot across the bow. I'm not, and then we started getting hit from a lot of our international partners, right? So let's just stop there for a second. So Poland, Australia, we're currently working with New Zealand, Ukraine, Baltic states, which is 3 different states, Indonesia, Italy, Spain, Mongolia, United Kingdom, South Africa, we're still working on some things, Switzerland, Slovakia, Czech Republic, Austria, Hungary, and Austria. So if you look at those and it grows every day, you would think, oh, okay, no big deal. Most Americans are like, those are other countries. Well, every one of those countries has their own dynamics and their own reason for what they're doing. And so some would be like, hey, we love it. Some would be like, hey, these guys are shady. We want you to come out with a thing. And so we sent that email like, hey, stop, guys. You don't even have a mission statement. I see what's going on in South Africa. You just replace PRS with this. If that's the case, guys, we don't want anything to do about it. Let me see your constitution. You go back and read the email, not all the crap that the 20 guys that never shoot in PRS and hate the PRS or disgruntled or whatever, which essentially what that stuff is, was like, hey, go look at what the points were. Like almost every paragraph, because we write everything as it's going to get shared, right? With all the people, whatever, whoever it is, and competitors, whatever, like we just know that's going to happen. So to us, it was like, okay, mildly interesting. You guys have your fun. Because when they do, I don't think people realize what that actually strengthens the PRS significantly. Because reasonable-minded people were like, who are these people? Like, what is actually going on? I've participated in these matches. I know Shannon. I know Julie. I know the leadership. I know the match directors. And we keep growing. And so I think so that whole email, I expect more of that to happen as certain organizations contract and we continue to expand. It's just going to get more stupid. But let's go back to the email. So we sent that email very pointed, like, hey, answer this question. Hey, until you answer these questions, we're going to stand by. So that got shared, whether it was Saturday or whether it was whatever. And that was just like, hey, guys, that was the truth. And I told those guys, I'm like, hey, man, you're picking this guy who's actively working against the PRS. You're picking people. That's a problem. Like, you can't say we're not getting involved in other countries' business. That's a problem because you're picking people. They need to vote. You need to put that in the international constitution so that countries could draw their own. So we kind of let it go. Hey, guys, have your fun. Kept doing our business, worked on the task at hand, answer their shooter's mail. So, and knowing that at least 99% of the U.S. shooters don't care. So there's obviously a lack of trust at this point. Sharing an email, do we think it was the guys that kind of got this started, or some of the states? Maybe, probably. Does it matter? Probably not. I had a conference call with the principal organizer last week, and I told them, I'm like, hey, man, here's the deal. I'm coming on a shooter's mindset, and I'm going to speak the truth, and people are going to be shocked because they're going to realize that, hey, Shannon removed himself from this from a lot of different reasons, but also because I have a vested interest, the PRS and all the PRS organizations across the globe. So if I'm going to get an international organization, I have a loaded, absolutely, I have a bias interest. I'm incredibly biased to be both PRS. Well, when you take an international organization and you want to come over the top, right? You can't compare it to Pistol or International, all this stuff, because they built their base up and started from the grassroots to a point. These guys are trying to come over the top. And so I asked a hard question. It's like, okay, guys, why do you exist? Is it to govern matches and host a world finale and maybe some European championships? Because if that's the case, dude, we're all about it. Put that in your mission statement. Is it to try to take over everything that's going internationally, or they'll never do it stateside, but internationally they might, because of the way the laws are written, right? If that's what you're doing, be honest with it. Most businesses have a mission and or vision statement. Just publish it. It's a 1 or 2 sentence thing. You could Google it. It's not a big deal. Not to get too militaristic. Why don't you do that? And then I told them, I'm like, hey guys, like I have PRS affiliates across the globe. They're going to use this to their advantage to cross the NRL. I have NRL South Africa contacting me, or at least somebody that I think is representing them, saying like, hey, this is bullshit, reaching out to me to like, hey, we need help. They're trying to suck us in. They're making us pay this. We can't be a part of it. And then South Africa's going to shut us down. And I'm like, dude, this is an absolute crap show. I'm just not getting into it anymore. Like, we're stepping away. You guys want to share emails? If it's so good, guys, it should sell itself. Like, don't bring the PRS into this. So we're going to take a step back. And I told the guys, I'm like, guys, you're coming in from a top down. If you want to get it right in the international constitution, you need to require every single country, since you don't have a base and you have no shooters now, you have no funding, you have no way to do anything, you need to require every single country to be very, very inclusive constitutionally, i.e. anyone can object, everyone has to vote. That means in the United States, the Guardian, any independent unknown agency, the NRL, the PRS, any other smaller, whatever that's out there that I might not be tracking, has a seat at the table, has a vote, and gets a vote in the Constitution. Otherwise, all it's going to do is create division. And that's already happening, and we have nothing to do with it. UK, there's a bunch of countries. We're like, okay, guys, hey, that's my advice for you. I'm gonna tell my countries that are affiliated with us, guys, don't use this to leverage the PR. I mean, I have an email from them saying like, hey, I can't believe you're doing this. You'd be against it. It's only going to benefit the PRS. And I'm like, yeah, guys, that's a problem. Can you not see that that's going to be a problem? Like, it's going to create division, and people are leveraging what's supposed to be a top-down organization. It's never going to work. Look at our country. We have some division now. That's getting eroded pretty fast, pretty quickly here. So it's messy. I don't think most people don't care, but I do want the shooters to know. And I actually told some international guys I'm coming on here because I want to stick on video. Guys, the PRS is not going to be involved in division. If they want to get it right, go get it right. Should they do something constitutionally where it can't be leveraged? I know there's countries right now in Europe and in other parts of the world that are using it to leverage because of the laws in their country. And we're seeing that. And all it's going to do is create more division. And then at the end of the day, it's not recognized. It can't be recognized for 5 years and then need 40 countries, right? There's no way they have 40 countries in 5 years. So all that is another country somebody else could come in there, go to the international organization, leverage them and start it up. And I'm like, guys, you guys do it. But I will say this, if they get it right and they make it fair, where it doesn't benefit the PRS, or it doesn't benefit one entity, whatever that entity may be in another country, the PRS will get behind it. And they put out a clear mission statement, like, what do you guys want to do? Hey, we exist to put on world championships. Hey, the PRS get behind that, because we don't do that right now. Will we do it? COVID slowed it down, sure, through one of our international affiliates. But if you guys want to do it and these other countries need this, like we don't need it in the States, then yeah, it's something we can get behind. But we see no leadership in the USA as far as trying to draft a constitution. A lot of these people aren't elected, and they're representing the shooters. And so all I see is a recipe for disaster. So guys, share my email. We're pushing back, but now we're out of it. God bless you. Go do whatever you want. The PRS is going to keep doing our thing, and we're going to listen to our international affiliates. And at the end of the day, we will make sure they're ethical and fair. And I've had conversations with them, Jen. to some of them, like, hey, do not leverage that for a competitive or legal gain, because all it's going to do is break up your country. So
I think a lot of people perceived that email that you felt the IPRF was almost a threat to PRS or a competition to. And so I guess a question that's coming across is, and I've got people messaging me questions, is why can the PRS not exist and the IPRF exist? They're two different entities. That's an international thing. If people want to compete in PRS and have a good time in PRS and then go compete in the IPRF at the international stage once they get it up and running, why is that a problem?
yeah, I think they should. Yeah, it's not a problem. I think they should. But okay, so say IPDF comes to me and says, "Hey, Shannon, this is what we want you to do. Go ahead and take it and run with it." Okay, cool. So the PRS, hey guys, we're gonna have whatever stupid model would be. Hey guys, if you go to the finale and you place here, you could go represent United States. And the end of the year World Championships. Don't have a problem with it. Okay, well, what about the guys that shoot Guardian? What about the guys that shoot the NRL? What about the guys that shoot any other regional series like the Roughness Heat Challenge or even Outlaw or just unaffiliated, all the Bushnell other matches? Do they not get a seat at the table? So they can do whatever they want, and just like we can, we don't care. But the problem is, what people don't know about that email is the principal organizer has been leveraging the PRS to build his own country up. We have actually withheld that because we just don't, there's some trust issues, but we're working through that. So right now in South Africa, there's not affiliation. We know there's a lot of shooters that want to come over. We want to support those shooters. But the problem is when you got different time zones and you just don't know what the truth, your emails are getting shared and this is just getting dropped out like, hey, we're gonna drop this out, guys. Here's what's going on. You know, it was a poor launch because the information was not out there. The Constitution's out now. It's a 95%. So to answer that question is what we were trying to get through in that email. So we had these bullet points. So a private conversation got shared publicly for people that just like the PRS that want to see us contract. Every time they do this, we get more and more support, right? So, you know, what was the point of that email? I was like, hey guys, what the hell's going on? Tell us, here's some questions we have for you. We want to get behind you. Those questions haven't been answered to this day. Why should the shooters not be able to, when you're talking about a world championship, right? If that's their goal, if it's a world championship and just to organize matches, awesome. We absolutely get behind that. So show me a mission statement where that's at. You know, so there's a lot of PRS affiliates in other countries that are afraid, that want us to come out publicly and state that it's a fraud organization. It does not exist. It is not recognized internationally right now. They need 5 years in 40 countries. They don't have it, right? So right now, all it is a paper and a magic website. That's all it is. But the problem is those other countries, once it happens, other people that are associated with it can benefit, and their leadership or their organizations gets recognized, which will leave them out or funded by their governments. So it's so loaded. Most Americans won't know. They just see it from Americans' content. Guys, I don't care. Is it going to affect America? Not one bit, guys. If 15, 20 people want to go, you know, go off to and shoot a match, awesome, man. Go shoot a match overseas. Good luck and represent All Glory, all the support for you. But you know, I just don't represent I represent the PRS as a whole, internationally and nationally. So I think it should. I'll say right here, the PRS does not want to run a international government body for the precision rifle industry. We do not want to do that, right? Because there's too much division. It is going to be an uphill road. There's no way to fund it, right? It's $4,000 a year just for membership. Okay, how are they going to fund that? They're going to require memberships. They're going to require this. How is anyone in America interested in joining that? When a handful of people go, nope. You know, does the PRS interested in paying that? Nope. Then they got to put on matches, and they have staff, a tremendous amount of staff. And right now they're all volunteers. And I think those volunteers need to stay in place because they have it, they care, right? And that's the problem with elections. You might look like somebody who doesn't want to do any work. Well, the International Federation needs a lot of work. And they need people that are dedicated to doing it and getting it right. But when you come, like I said, Jen, when you come from the top down, you have to do it right. And there's America, like I said, doesn't matter. These other countries, it doesn't matter. Where countries, there's only one organization like the PRS, or yeah, I'm all for it. Australia, yeah, I'm all for it. Italy, I'm all for it. Other countries, I come out against it. And I'm like, guys, this is well beyond me. We're going to support you. We'll do whatever we can. We got a mixed bag here. Like the fix is make it fair, make it ethical. Understand you don't have a base, and define who you are. Like, what are you doing? You want to run a world championship event? Awesome. You want to take over the sport like IPDA, which a lot of people think it is, and they're getting strong arm in these other countries. So a lot of that wasn't that in the email. And so I think as it plays out, if they don't get it right, as it plays out, you're going to see a lot of drama overseas, and we're just not going to touch it. So, we wish them the best of luck. We're fully ready to support them if they do it right. And I think, like I said, internationally, they need to mandate their constitution that if countries want to be accepted, they have to be inclusive to shooters. They have to do it in a democratic way. Elections, constitutions need to be revised. It can't just be, oh, we're the international federations, we're not getting involved in the country, but hey, wink, wink, we're going to pick all the people in these countries that are going to do what we want. Well, that's why there's an uproar internationally. And that's what you kind of saw out in that email. Then you had a bunch of other crap. So what other questions you have on it, Jen? Because I think it's important, because there's a lot of people that painted that email, because it was pointed, absolutely. It was very pointed, because we wanted to.
I'll be honest, it was a little rough reading it. I was like,
yeah, well, there's a lot of, that's the thing, is people don't understand their context. There's a lot of history behind it. The principal organizers, one of them lost a lot of, didn't see eye to eye with a lot of shooters. So their sport broke, very similar to America. A lot of shooters were affected by that. The good thing, because of that, those guys are now talking. So I think we're on the road potentially. Trust needs to be rebuilt, obviously, right? But I think we're on the road behind closed doors, as it should be, for people to realize, like, hey, Shannon's a pretty reasonable guy. Yeah, people are going to take stuff, and yeah, but Shannon's also not going to deal with a lot of bullshit when it comes to being dishonest, unfair, unethical. And yes, I have a vested interest in PRS, so I might remove myself if I don't think I can be impartial, which I did. But also, I'll also inject myself, be like, hey guys, if you want to get this right and you want the PRS behind you, and you want me to encourage the affiliates that aren't behind you and encourage you, you better get it right and you better define yourself. And there were very simple questions. What is your intent? What is your mission statement? Who are you? What are you doing? Those questions have not been answered to this day fully. And so that's given a lot of
show. They answered a lot of them.
What's that?
I said, you should have watched our show. They answered a lot of them. I can tell you don't watch.
Yeah, I'm super, super busy.
I see. Okay.
But
so
no, to be fair, I didn't watch the show, but, and I've yet, so as a PRS, we've yet to been approached by the American leadership to draft any constitution or be a part of anything. So is that an indicator? I'll let the shooters decide, like, what's going on. Are we not doing anything? Does Shannon not want to be part of it? That's one of the reasons I want to come on tonight. Like, hey guys, I'm here. I think it's a good concept. PRS doesn't want to do it. I think someone else should do it. I can get behind it. Just do it right. And I'm sitting here saying it shouldn't just be the PRS. It should be every shooter, every organization, whatever it might be, across the U.S. and every country needs to draft a constitution fairly, democratically, so we get it right. Otherwise, it's going to create division. Because I got half my international countries saying, like, no, don't do that. We'll do our own world championships. This is a fake organization anyway. I'm like, guys, like, we're just, if it's going to be divisive, like I always say, guys, we're just going to keep growing. We're going to build our base. We're going to keep doing it. It's a model that works. The numbers don't lie. And I think, I hope they get it right. If they want to get it right, like, I've been helping. Do I want to be a part of it? No, I don't think I should. do they want, if they want some cancel or talk, like, I have no problem talking about it. Like, I want what's best for the sport, even if that's not always best for the PRS. So I don't think, depending on what their mission statement and constitution, if they're going to revise it, comes out, I think those two things could work hand in hand very, very well, but it's up to them. And they have to rebuild the trust in a lot of other countries, not us. So we are completely removed ourselves from it. So what other questions you got on that?
So another question. So you talk a lot about, I'm sorry, let me get this one out because that's somebody that sent me this. You talk a lot about division. So there's a question, like the email had a lot in there about PRS versus NRL. You are very strongly opinionated about that. And so they want to know.
From us or from them?
So why are match directors not allowed to host PRS and NRL matches? If you don't want there to be division, then why is there such division that if you match direct one, you're not allowed to match direct yours? So
yeah, so that I think that's one of our I think it's one of their talking points. We have match directors that host NRL matches, that run rimfire matches, that run one-day matches, and that they're more than welcome to do so. We've never stopped that. We've encouraged guys. It's not a problem. Now,
I thought they were allowed to shoot the 2-day if they're not allowed to match direct the 2-day.
2-day match directors and one-day match. The 2-day match directors and 2-day matches. We no longer have any match directors that host two different matches. We have in the past, and when I came in, I kind of grandfathered them in. So everyone wants to put that on me. So I will be more than happy, because I know what the answer is going to be. We could take that to a committee, and because I already know it, because the match directors talk to me, and I'll be like, hey, match directors, do you want to allow this? And they're going to be like, absolutely not. So if the PRS said yes to every single 2-day match that we have, would we have a competitive, if you look at our mission statement, look at our pillars, like we have a mission statement, right? And one of them is the competition aspect. All of a sudden we have matches that don't have the numbers that we have. So we're trying to run less matches in the 2-day series, cover geographically, sure. We got 11 on the West Coast, I think 13 Central, and then 15 on the East Coast. So we're pretty balanced, if you look at the population of the United States, we're almost perfectly balanced. If those match directors want to let those guys do it, but the problem is it comes into the scheduling, and it comes into it kind of goes back in the amateur issue. Hey, let's just open up a new plant and we'll just produce millions of more rounds, and then all this is going to get fixed. And then what? Well, then those companies are bankrupt. But for the PRS, if we have, if we said yes to everybody, we have 60, 70 matches. Well, then we lose the competitive parity. In the past 2 years, we've been trying to increase that, like qualifiers implemented. AG Cup, we're trying to manage the competitive. We're a series, and we track scores to compete. So the match directors want, and obviously the sponsors want their matches to go well. The shooters want competitive matches. They want good attendance matches for whatever the match director, can handle. The match directors aren't going to. I doubt that they're going to want to do that when all the match directors, not all, but the majority of the match directors in the central region say, hey, we're done. We want to unify. We want to do this. A lot of some of the match directors out west, so now if you look at it, what are we talking about? We're talking about, generally, the Northwest and a little pocket into the plains, and then the PRS. So to us, it is no longer, really an issue. It's like, hey, there's nothing more we can do. People don't know that we've offered 2 years ago, the day I took over, I called up, the NRL and was like, hey, I'll give you 49% of this, no cost. I don't want any money. You guys could take any money if there's ever any money to pay for your, services rendered type thing. No, we can't do that. We can't. Okay, fine, take 50%. And I don't want any money. I don't want anything. Let's just do this. And the answer was no. I mean, and to be fair to them, I think my thing was like, hey, we need to come under one name. The PRS obviously, is the name that we need to do. And they didn't want to give that up. Okay, fine, no big deal. It's not unethical, wasn't wrong, but they let it go, in the rimfire thing, we can't, ever since I took over, we leverage this, that, please do it, please do it, please do it. The rules are, let the match directors do it, just like the PRS. I'm like, guys, I don't, NRL 2015 is going pretty decent, just let them do it. And until finally I said, hey guys, NRL, check it out, guys. We're just getting too much requests. There's just too much demand. Do you guys want to do this? And we'll support you. And we'll do center fire. Do you guys want to meet in the middle somewhere? And the answer was no. So I was like, okay. And so we did it. The sponsors jumped on board, and now we have, it's almost as big as our center fire one day. So, and we'll be probably bigger next year. So we have tried everything to unite, but when it comes to what matches we shoot, we make decisions geographically. We make decisions, and the match directors that we have, they have a say. If the match directors want to manage schedule better and not flood the market, so we can have the competitive parity, successful matches for the sponsors, successful matches for the shooters, successful matches for the match directors, because those are the three pillars: our sponsors, our shooters, and our match directors. Without one of those three, the PRS doesn't exist. And people, I think, have a hard time understanding, and they see our growth and what we're doing so well. They're like, man, I don't understand. Well, guys, that's what they want. Like, I like, it's not Shannon K. Like, if you notice, I don't have a Facebook profile, or presence, I should say. We just do what we should. We lead and get out of the way. We provide opportunity to get out of the way. So, if the match directors wanted to do that, I would have no problem going to a vote and say, hey, match directors, do you guys want to go run some NRL matches? And I almost know the answer. Most of the guys would be like, absolutely not. We see the division, we see the match attendance, we see what it does.
See, I think it's made more division though, because now I feel like NRL is West Coast and PRS is East Coast. And I know there are some PRS, a few that are West Coast, but I have a lot of West Coast friends that I never see now because they shoot NRL because it's over there. Geographically, it's expensive to fly across the country. So it's hard for me to fly to Washington or California to go shoot an NRL match. I'd like to shoot an NRL match, and I can't because there's none here. Because and the perception, whether it's true or not, is that when you came in, you said, if you match direct an NRL match, you may not match direct a PRS match.
Right.
So because East Coast is mainly PRS shooters, because geographically that's where PRS is, then those match directors, I mean, I don't know, and I might be speaking out of turn, but it seems like they felt manhandled into having to give up the NRL because they didn't want to give up PRS, because so many of the PRS shooters are East Coast shooters. So it seems to divide it to where now what we have is a West Coast series and an East Coast series. That's just my perception, and I feel everyone's perception.
So you can look at that. I don't know how many matches are on the NRL schedule, but I think there's 12, right? So we have 11 matches on the West Coast. What's the biggest match on the West Coast? The Hornady match, right? So as far as I can know. I mean, I know, I know people think that, but just again, look at the numbers, right? And so that's a good talking point. But the Hunter series got launched. Well, how is that? We had nothing to do with it, right? East Coast, West Coast, Central. They got one in Tennessee. They got one in New England. Awesome. How's it going? They're building. They're working on it, and it's a concept that I would have done. I think the PRS tried it, not to that scale, but it went away for whatever reason. I wasn't involved in it. But there's if someone wants to run a match on the East Coast, how can I stop them from doing that? I don't do that no more than they could stop me from running a match on the West Coast. Now they get together and there's shooters and there's shooters aside and there's factions in it, but it's like, okay, fine. Hey guys, we'll try it. We're going to put a bunch of matches on the West Coast, and they're going to do however they're going to do, given the overload and overlap. But then I think what people are missing is that the match directors are making that choice on their own. If a match director comes to me, hey Shannon, I want to do a PRS match. Hey man, awesome. You're in Texas. Dude, we have 4 matches. You're doing an NRL match. Dude, you're not even going to make the list, because we're trying to unify the sport. We've already tried it with their leadership, right? Leadership said they're not interested or got no response whatsoever. So If they don't respond, okay, Roger, so what do we do? Okay, we'll try to unite it by getting many guys on board. I can guarantee you that their leadership contacts our match directors to try to get them on board more than we contact theirs. I try once a year. I send an email, hey guys, I'd love to have you. If you're interested in unifying sport, here we are. Here's the numbers.
What
Right?
if they said they're interested, but they want to run an NRL and a PRS? Is that allowed or no?
It would be, I'd take it to the committee at that point. At today, now that we don't have anybody, I'd be like, okay, guys, committee, what do you want to do? Because it's super easy to blame, the director, right? Oh, it's all Shannon K because it's an easy front. Okay, guys, well, awesome. Do you know there hasn't been a major decision since I've been in charge that hasn't gone to 40 match directors or 45 match directors across the country to old?
You're always going to be the face of it. So even
well, sure, yeah, and I get it, but like if the match directors didn't like it, there's no contracts. There's not even a handshake. It's like, hey man, you want to do match? Roger that. I mean, here's the rules. You ready to follow the rules? Okay, roger that. They can leave at any time that they want, just like they can from the NRL. But the match directors see the numbers, they see the organizations, they see the support, they see that's what their shooters want, they see the name, and they want to do it. So is it the shooters that are really complaining, or is it the other guys? Because if the shooters are really complaining, the match numbers, not all of them, because some of them do pretty well, the match numbers don't support it compared to what the match numbers are in the PRS. So people always vote with their feet, right? And
well,
right now,
I'm happy with that decision, but I'm not one to raise a stink. And I think
I mean, well,
I have friends that are match directors that have said that they were explicitly told they could not host a PRS match if they hosted an NRL. That
sure. So yeah. So now at this point, Jen, what I would do is let's say, okay, hey guys, Texas. Let's say Texas and Oklahoma and Kansas, because it's super crowded in there right now. Because all those match directors, the majority of them came over to the PRS. Hey, we want to run PRS. Awesome, guys. This is what I'll do for you. So good faith. Let's build trust. Let's build loyalty. Here's our goal. We're trying to unify, right? We want to keep expanding. We want to manage the number of matches. I mean, Jen, I don't know what to tell you. There's an NRL match in Texas that had 58 shooters. There's another one just a couple weeks later. It had 100 and. There was a PRS match, it had 171. So, do you expect that match director to be like, yes, roger that. Let all the matches in Texas, do we just let the market decide, right? Because that's not what the PRS is, not in our mission statement, right? If someone wants to change our pillars and say, hey, we need to have competitive parity, i.e. we need to have matches. Because we got into that point before I took over a little bit where matches were lower in numbers in different countries, some 150 standard, right? 100 to 150 standard. Some of them might be 70 or 80, depending on where it's at. And that every match is different. Some might be 200. The grind's 400. I don't think our current match directors would allow that. And if they do, then roger that. Then I'll let them vote on it. But I think a lot of them, now that they see what Unity does, when you look at, let's say the Southeast and the East Coast and the Northeast, right? Very united, very well managed, right? If you said, hey man, because I've taken it to vote before. I actually taken it to vote in the Southeast. Hey guys, there's a club that wants to run NRL matches. I'm not going to make this decision because it's always going to be big Shannon. Do you want to allow that, right? And not one person said yes. Everyone was like, nope, we don't want to do that. We see the division. It's not fair to the shooters. They pay new memberships. All they're doing is copying the PRS. And so they don't do it. So sure, do they want to blame Shannon? They want to blame the PRS, or they want to twist it and say that we're not allowed? Guys, you want to run one-day matches, run fire matches, go ahead. You want our 2-day matches where that's regional and we have a lower threshold for shooters and it's smaller, awesome. Let the best match directors, best matches win. But when it comes to a national level where there's a smaller pool of shooters nationally that are competing and we're trying to maintain a high level of competitive parity, like we need to manage the numbers appropriately. I personally think that we have a few too many matches already in our calendar. And so we'll look at the end of the year, we'll look at the numbers, but so far the numbers have been great. And if you look at the other series, some of them are going to do good and some of them not so much. And that's not the PRS making that decision. It's the shooters. So if someone wants to slap a match in Alabama or Ohio or Pennsylvania, do it and put NRO on it. Like, we can't stop people from doing that. It's a free country. Like, but you know what you need to look at too is what people don't see, Jim, is, there's a match director in Texas that, got solicited to do it once a lot of the Texas matches, came to the PRS and, hey, I'm gonna do an NRO match. Can I get on the list? I'm like, oh man, like, no man, I said no to a couple other matches already, and you're doing an NRO match. And what one of their points is, they're trying to unite the sports so we can manage the schedule correctly. They look to the PRS to like not flood the market and have the right amount of competitive parity. And he was upset by that. And he's a very good guy. And I'm like, yeah, man, not a problem. And, he's going to end up hosting the Central Rimfire finale that we allowed him to do, even though he's hosting it because it's the right thing to do. So people will focus on what they want to believe over what's happened. We're trying to be fair. We want to unite. We want to bring everybody in. But it is, we base things off a committee. We base things off match directors with my leadership. So, all I do is bring stuff up to a vote and apply the policies that match directors want. If guys want to formalize it, any match director right now of our 43 could go into that committee, say, hey, Shannon, I want to run an NRO match. And be like, roger that, guys. Let's vote on it. What do you guys? How do you guys want it? You guys shape the PRS. You guys have to answer to the shooters more so than I do. Vote on it. And I know how that's gonna go. There might be a couple that might want to do it, sure, because they're in an area where they want both, but they're most likely gonna get outvoted because everyone else that sees what the PRS does, what that organizational unity does, they just don't want that division. And if you look at the areas of the country where there is no division, you see tremendous more growth compared to the population that's in that state, in that state or in that region. So, we're not sitting here. It's not despite, if I could sit here and offer up 50% of the PRS, not do a Rimfire series, not do these things, you don't. I guess I'll leave you with this, Jen, is you don't see a lot of PRS match directors, shooters, or the PRS as a whole, the organizational leadership disputing these things. So I think that's a pretty big indicator. Like, why are we not complaining? You know what I'm saying? Like, do I talk? You know what I'm saying? Well, yeah, you're complaining. Yeah, I mean,
I'm complaining, but I'm not the only. I've heard, and I'm pretty like chill. Like, I just want to shoot. But I've heard a lot of what I am saying is off of chatter that I've heard.
Yeah, so I just explained it. So okay, it's chatter desk. Like, hey, if somebody wants to rent K&M and run an NRO match, come on. All we got to do is deconflict dates of my facility, and I'll let them run it, and we'll let the shooters decide. Jen, we've tried last year. Hey guys, Vu out in California. Hey Shannon, do you care if we count? We want to do a match in California, man. We want to do PRS points and NRO points. We want to be independent. I'm like, all right, man, let me think about that. Okay, if we do this, what are the other match directors going to think? Because I got to answer to them too. And I'm like, you know what, Vu? Fuck it, let's do it. Go ahead and do it. All right. He come back to me a couple of days later. Hey, man, the NRL said no. I'm like, okay, I don't know what to do. I'm like, but you know what? While you're on that thing, let me give it a shot. Hey, Montana. Hey, other matches up there. Hey, man, go to the NRL. You want to count matches for both? Go ahead, let's do it. Let's try it. Wherever there's, what's that?
Would you let an East Coast match do it? Because the ones
Yeah,
that I
so
heard,
hold on. So let me.
They couldn't.
So let me finish. So my thing was like, wherever there's overlap, to be fair to the shooters, right? If there's overlap, sure, let's just go ahead and do it. So this is mainly in the Northwest, right? And the response I got back was like, okay, man, roger that. That's fucked up. We're not going to do that, but we'll do it if the K&M match, let Shannon have his own match, be in a row. I'm like, not a problem. Go ahead and do it. Let's do it. I was like, I'll call your bluff. I don't care. Just do it. And they walked away from it. So all this chatter that you're hearing, it hasn't been for lack of effort on the PRO's part, right? To try to unify, to try to give up, right? And now at this point, after 2.5 years, we've taken two different strategies: work together because we have a higher calling.
it's our responsibility. We want to do what's best for the sport. I still believe to the day unification is best for the sport, right? Just if you look at all the pistol and all these other organizations, they're good. They're going to be outlaws, or some can be something separate, and that's fine. But at this point, we've grown so much, we've invested so much, we've done so much with the rimfire, that the ship has almost left the harbor. I don't know what there is to talk about. I think there's if you look at as a whole, the organization that we're talking about is 10% of the size, the number of matches that the PRS is. So it's just like, hey guys, we're just going to play nice. We're just going to focus on what the PRS, focus on PRS shooters. Let's work geography. Let's work matches, good locations. I still solicit matches, all the time. I've talked to match directors on the West Coast. Hey man, this is what we want to do for you. Here's what we're going to do. Like, come on, man. Like, get on board. They don't want to do it. Okay, no harm, no foul. Okay, hey, we'll let you run a match. Go ahead. Your grandfathered in, man, give me a venue. Well, I lost my venue. Okay, cool. All right, hey man, I don't have any more NRL match directors. So, okay, what are we going to do? What's our policy going forward? Hey, we're not going to accept any more because that's what their match directors required me to do as a director. Like, hey, manage the schedule, keep things. What's unique, Jen, is why does the PRS and the Guardian never have any issue? Don't we share a bunch of match directors? I think we do, and venues. I'm pretty sure we do, quite a few. There's never a crossword. There's never any issues. Well, why is that? You know what I'm saying? So I think people really need to look deep as like to what's going on. I mean, there's other venues and other match directors. They do some of these more tactical type, adventure type matches. We don't have any problems with them. You know what I'm saying? There's outlaw matches all over. There's PRS matches. There's no issues with them. So, it's very convenient, I think, for some to want to put that in the PRS. But at the end of the day, we're giving the shooters what the shooters want, and we're answering the match. We listen to three people: the shooters, match directors, and the sponsors. It's my job to balance all those three out. I think we've been doing a pretty good job at it. Match attendance is up. Shooters have a bunch of options. We're growing. More sponsor support is higher than it's ever been. I've tried super hard to give up a lot in the name of the sport, and I'll always leave my ear open and my phone's not ringing. You know what I'm saying? So I've tried. At this point, we're kind of focused on just the PRS and like, okay, here we go. If match directors don't like the policy, if there's PRS match directors that don't like the policy, and they want to run an NRL match, cool. I will. They can take it up to vote anytime. They're on the committee, and they can take it up. And if they want to do it, I doubt it will get approved because all the match directors see what happens in that little Plains region, and they see the numbers, they see the attendance. Not always, because there's a lot of good matches that we love to have on our calendar. But in the central region, guys see it and they're like, hey, this is not a good fit for us. So don't blame what the match directors are doing. And don't blame if there's a match director that says, hey, Shannon, I want to be fully dedicated to the PRS. I want to work towards a 2-day match. But I'm doing an NRL match, and there's another one that's fully dedicated to the PRS, that we choose them, because when we choose them, that means they'll work within the PRS structure to meet certain requirements to run a 2-day match, or meet certain requirements to run a 1-day match or a rimfire match. So that is exactly what you said. It is chatter, but if there's a better solution, I am all ears. Because at the end of the day, if there's something that we could do to unify the sport, and if the match directors that are running NRL matches, want to do that, and if the NRL wants to do something, cool, call me, because I've been trying to work on it for 2 years. But at this point, we weren't standing idle. We continue to grow. If you look at where the PRS was 2.5 years ago, to where it's today, it is an entirely different story. So, all right, what else on that topic, Jen?
That's all I had. Are there any lives, Greg?
Let's see. I got one pending. I should have that one here in a second.
I can't keep up with that, man. But what do you got there, Greg?
Let's see. Let's go to some other one while that one's pending. Fuck. So let's go to some kind of off-topic lives that I saved from before that. We got that. A lot of questions on that. A couple of people that have asked how K&M has fared in the recent storms.
Pretty good. We got lucky. About 10 miles up the road, there's a couple barns and houses got absolutely destroyed. So, our prayers go out to them. But we got a very bad lightning strike, which I don't think anybody, Scott Woodhouse just said, I've never been told I can't have an NRL match, and I have two-day matches. Exactly, making sure there's a balance. We don't anyway. So that's something. There's so much disinformation. That's why it's good, Jen. I got to come on here at least once a quarter because I just can't keep up with the chatter, But anyway, Greg, what was your K&M? Yeah, so K&M, we're good. We got a lightning strike, and it hit a live oak that is absolutely remarkable. I didn't get any pictures, but I probably will tomorrow. But we're good. We're actually jamming. We got a lot of improvements. We added a bunch of props. We had a slow winter, which we usually do. It was really wet. But our K&M match Memorial Day we have already close to 200 shooters, so we'll definitely have over 200, I think. That typically is the second biggest match in the country, but there's a lot close on its heels, and it shows how good the PRS match directors are working together and getting better, and competing in a healthy manner, against each other for shooters, but at the same time working together. But yeah, we got some federal government guys in this week, and we're doing well. So I'm glad. Thanks for the concern. Whoever sent that in.
Yep. Richie asked. This is a question for. I guess for me and Jen, if there's any plans to film or live stream any more matches for those people at home to watch.
If anybody would like to fund us getting there, I truly enjoy like the AG Cup where we filmed it and had it live, and I think everybody enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. However, that was all Tom put us up, but like it's still our gas and our time off of work. And so if anybody wants to fund that, we would be glad to.
All right, well, Jen, we'll talk offline, but you guys, well, I know Greg's close. You're in Texas? Where are you at?
No, we're both in Augusta, Georgia, so we're
okay.
8 hours from K&M.
So you guys got lodging at K&M for you guys did a phenomenal job at the AG Cup, so we could transition to that. You guys have lodging set. So let's me, you, and Tom quickly plan on covering the AG Cup because I thought I think a lot of your shooters and viewers really like that. And having that can this year is we'll put it on the shooters and let the best guy win. So that'll be good. But yeah, that needs to happen, Greg, Jen. You guys need to get that.
Yeah,
mark it off in your calendar. Yeah, so we'll put you up in our lodge and then or cabin, whatever we got, and then we get you covered.
So did you just tell us that AG Cup is going to be at K&M this year?
Yeah, so if you guys would pay attention to, just like I don't pay attention to everything, but most of the things you guys do, you pay attention to our announcement. Yeah, so the finale is going to be in New Mexico. Typically we are going to rotate our finale between East, Central, West Coast as much as we can. And then this year, we kind of restructured the AG series a little bit. I think we had 40 some shooters shoot the AG Cup last year. This year we like, hey, let's get this funded a little bit better because it is incredibly expensive to run. And so me and Tom brainstormed, throughout the end of last year. The AG shooters basically put up the funding or their dues to the PRS when they sign up, right? So that encourages the people to sign up, basically put up or shut up at the beginning of the year. Last year, I think we had 75 AG shooters, which is probably the high point that we want. Low point probably being about 30 to 35, but we want guys that are going to compete all year, put in the payouts to the AG series all year, want to be racked and stacked against the top at some of the more challenging matches. Travel the country, shoot different cultures, different terrains, different conditions. And so all that funding that they put up, that's that $750, basically the PRSs already have, and we have set aside, and that'll be the payouts. Of course, we'll work some sponsorships up too. And then we're going to do that at Can this year, a little bit more centralized. And right now, just the concept is there's going to be, and this is based on the shooters' feedback. Hey, we're going to have a 2-day match for 2 days. And during this 2-day match, the top 10, 15 guys, whatever, ends up shaking out. And there'll be some alibis for points of how you did in the series. The series is weighted. Those guys will survive to day 3. And then day 3 will be very similar to what you guys covered. That way it allows for some consistency. If someone bombs the stage that first day after competing all year, they basically have a 20-stage PRS style match to kind of work that out. So we took some of that feedback from the shooters, kind of restructured it for the payouts. So far, let me see my notes that Joel has for me. We're looking at, I don't know where she did it, but so we already got, 30, 35K for the pot and growing. And then I think on the average, the AG matches we had was 6K. K&M obviously attracts a lot of shooters, both new and the AG guys. And so I'm sure I haven't looked at the numbers, but I'm sure, we'll have 30 plus AG shooters there to come battle it out. So, so you guys got to come, you guys got to cover it.
How many shooters are registered for AG Cup as of right now?
Right now, 43. So that is, and we might get a couple more as some guys sign up late, but that is ideal. That is like the original. So when me and Tom did it, I'm like, Tom, we're going to get between 40. I don't think we're going to quite get 75, but we want between 40 and 60, right? If it grows, awesome, but let that grow with the sport. And having those guys sign up and pay their payout, instead of paying 1,000, right? They're paying 750, so the payout's going to be slightly less, but still going to be a large number. They have to pay that right away. Because what we had last year is a bunch of guys shoot the series. Oh man, I'm in 60th place. Yeah, man, I can't make the AG Cup. And so, at that point, Tom is guaranteed, a certain payout, right? Through for Armageddon gear. And that's obviously challenging from there. So we're like, no, let's put it on the shooters. Let's get it up front. Let's do this. That way we're committed. It'll keep the numbers right where we want them. Like, hey man, these are the top guys. These are top 40 to 50 guys in the country, guys and gals, because obviously everyone knows Allison's hammering, right? And come battle it out. Come battle it out. So the numbers are right where you want it, and the payout is right there too. And so that's basically secure, and we're not over promising, given that shooters that might not want to attend. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. I don't know what we're gonna do about cell coverage. Make sure you guys got AT&T so you guys could live stream stuff.
I have AT&T.
And I have Verizon. So we're going to be switching back and forth depending on.
Yeah, Verizon. Boy, what is all the drama? Why does Ken get involved in drama? Here's a question: why do you have to defend so hard? What matches you plan on shooting? Anyway, I can't keep up. Greg, you're the techie guy.
Greg, you're looking at the live. I haven't looked at any of the lives because I have people private messaging me stuff, so I haven't looked at lives at all.
We have so many lives right now.
You're gonna have to pull those because I haven't had time. I'm trying to focus and do that and get questions fielded for them. So
okay, so here's a question totally unrelated to anything that we've talked about, but it seems like we're in this hard. This will kind of lighten up the mood. Let's talk about new shooters. So Rusty says he thinks the pro-ams are a great way to grow the sport. And he's wondering if any thought has been put into a bracket system to nurse along new shooters, enabling more renewable growth.
Yeah, we have classifications, right? So, and I said we're gonna tweak that out a little bit to make it to cover a minor hole that we have, right? But if a newer shooter comes in right now, so if I'm a brand new shooter, I'm Rusty. I signed up for a PRS. It's my first year. I'm shooting the Pro Series. Okay, I am NC. I'm a no class, right? So that means because it's a series and because there's different difficulties in matches and attendance and difficulty in matches, etc., which we all want, which is a good thing. When he shoots at the end of the year after the last match, everyone's classifications basically get calculated to what's in the rule book by percentage, top 20, 30, 30, 35, whatever it is. and they get that classification. And then if they make the top, they get invited to the finale. And then they could shoot in their classification, whether it's equipment limitations, whether it's experience limitations, training limitations, whatever it may be. Everyone has a piece. This is probably the most not talked about and undervalued thing that we've done, 2 years ago with this classification system, and which is why we implemented recognizing them. We need to recognize more shooters. And I know a lot of the top guys, which is very disappointing. They're like, oh man, it's just a trophy match, whatever, blah, blah, blah. We're just recognizing it's just whatever they say, that's shameful because we all started somewhere. I didn't win the first rifle match I shot. I got my teeth kicked in. Now I progressed rapidly because I took that training in my background and improved. And I did start winning a bunch, but nowadays it's much different. We could shoot once a month, every 2 months, and shoot once before we match and compete. Now you can't do that. A lot of these people are shooting every single day. It's impossible for a lot of guys to do. So we need those classification systems. We need to grow the sport at the 2-day level and at the 1-day level. So, that's all, that's all built in and it's all there. So, we have those divisions: amateur, marksman, semi-pro, and pro. So everyone can compete against. If you're a PRS member, you can compete against your class and see where you stack up, as well as your points and percentages. So I think we have it pretty well covered.
So I think the kind of the point of the question, like I love the fact, like I had a goal this season and then I didn't shoot as much as I wanted to, but it's really awesome. I do love the classification system. And it's, you can, compete for those top marksman trophies, and, you can shoot for your next class, which is, it's a pretty familiar feeling for me, starting out in USPSA and, starting out as a D class shooter, then shooting for C, then shooting for B. And that didn't get much far above that, which is why I shoot rifles now. I think the context of the question was something along the lines of, is asking for ways to help out new shooters. And, I do agree that having the classification systems is something for people to shoot for, but I think it was more of, it almost to me sounded like they were asking like, hey, can we coach, unclass shooters and stuff like that?
Yeah. So, that is probably, so that's a super loaded question, Greg. As we get to a point in our sports maturity, and on one hand we have, guys interpreting the rules one way, or maybe match directors not being that familiar with it, or things slip through. And so we're like, okay, guys, we need to be a culture of rules, integrity of this sport. Yes, absolutely, right? But then there's also, and we have those in the rules, and we have exceptions in the rules. And I would say by and large, most of our match directors get it right. I mean, I was at a 1-day match at MPA this weekend, and we had some newer shooters. He was timing out every stage, and I was ROing and spotting for him. And man, he was getting 2s and 3s, and so we want to help him out, right? Well, at the same time, if I'm coaching, if I'm shooting with one of my instructors, and Mike Rogan's up there, and he's one of the top. He's the top production shooter in the Southeast. Like, no, he's not going to get the call, whether he gets a 2 or he gets a 10. So. It's finding that balance, so one day you're like, no, rules, be a culture of reference, enforce them, be a black and white, but at the same time, we encourage new shooters. Depending on the 1-day and the 2-day matches, we have the pro-am, we have all those things. I think most match directors, they find that right balance. The rules allow that right balance. Does it get a little sideways sometimes? Do guys want to be coaching their wives and giving their win calls on the clock? Nope. Not if they're a top shooter, but if she's brand new, then yeah, absolutely. So, there's a balance there. I think most match directors get it, but I have a feeling as the sport grows, shooters need to be super, super conscious and of what they're doing and following the rules, following the 10 rules. And if not, ask the RO, ask their peers, ask the match director. So I think I think that is the next drama, if you will, right? That's probably going to be one of them. Wow, this guy was helping too much. This guy did this and this. And so it's finding that balance, help the new shooters.
I think any PRS match you go to, this is a funny thing. Like, oh, we want to create drama. We want to do this and PRS that. Well, you know what? Why are we growing? Because when you go to a match, you're going to find the nicest people that are caring. They'll give their shirt off their back. Christian-based, Christian-oriented people that just want to have a good time on the weekend, but want to compete. Some of them want to compete heavily. But at the end of the day, they have no problem helping that newer shooter because they understand that's how the sport grows. I don't think we're ever going to lose that culture. And we need to maintain it, but we also need to maintain that black and white thing with the rules. And I think we have a pretty good balance now. It's not perfect. But where we're at today, it's very, very solid. And it'll change. It will change. And we'll see how it goes. But at the end of the day, sport's different. We have 43 large national matches, and you have the best shooters in the world competing in them. And then you also have guys that are shooting their first match. That rarely happens. And show me a shooting sport that happens. I think we need to keep that. I do. That's why the grind is so popular. That's what, why Canyon is so popular. Hey, man, come to the match. You want to see the big dogs? Nicest facility in the country. Come on. And you're going to see you might end up shooting with one of the top shooters in the country. It's going to win the finale or win the AG Cup. And you can't do that anywhere else. You can't do it in any other precision rifle organization. But you can do it in the PRS, and you can do it. You can't do it in any other sport for sure. So I think that's important. And as long as I'm a director, I'm going to fight to keep that as best we can.
Yep. So speaking of like great shooters and just all around like awesome people, Keith Baker commented and he said he'd love to be able to help new shooters hit targets on them one day.
So why doesn't he?
Yeah, and I mean, I guess it's one of those things where like it's kind of a, we were talking before about clarity of the rules, and if it was Keith helping Matt hit a target, that would be generally frowned upon by every person out there.
Help.
I'm just saying,
Matt needs all the help he can get, so I'm not sure it's necessarily a bad idea.
Matt just got dissed.
He did.
Yeah, so Greg, I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, and
if you look at the way the rules are written, and I don't have them in front of me, there is a little bit of leeway for those one-day matches, and we use verbiage very, very carefully. Or 2-day matches and many things. So we want standardization because that makes it easy and fair and consistent. But there's some verbiage encouraged, optional, whatever for one-day matches. Man, I just shot a one-day match. There's a couple shooters in there that were new, and most of my coaching, because I'm the PRS director, was done off the clock, and I helped them out before and after the clock. And so I think if there's something we need to look at, we could look at. Right now, there's no classifications in the one-day series, right? Some guys ask like, "Hey, man, how can we? Why should I be a member?" Okay, well, because you know what? Because once these regions, which we've made actually smaller now, because that's what the shooters wanted and the match directors wanted. If we had more members, then we would have classifications, right? And we could do all these things because we would have, the ability to do that because we have the numbers. But, I would say that the majority of most one-day matches, the match directors have the leeway, work within the intent of the rules, but also keep a culture of welcoming one-day shooters. And I think typically, my rule of thumb is that I coach my ROs that came in, guys follow the rules. But if a shooter is struggling, and he shoots a stage or two, and he's up 1s, 2s, 0s, 3s, then it's start to slowly ramp up the coaching. Especially if they're not a PRS member. So if someone's getting, 20, 30, 40% of the points and that RO and the other shooters aren't helping them out within the rules, I think we're failing that newer shooter that we might not get back. And I think we need to do that because this sport is hard. We forget. But we're reminded every time we see a new shooter get 2 or 3 shots off, where we're getting 10 off, we have to do that. I mean, that's how we grow. And guys, I mean, it's so big now. It's crazy big, right? So we need to be encouraging. And if there's something that the match directors want to take to the committee, I'll tell you, the committee's probably other than me, right, is probably the most underutilized thing because the PRS requires all those 45 match directors. Hey, man, you have to vote. Not just you, but you answer to your shooters. Because if you get it wrong, they won't show up to your match. And so it's almost more powerful than being elected because they won't be successful. That setup, though not perfect, has a lot of benefits. And there's a lot of different people and a lot of different cultures across country. Bring it up. Like, hey, I think, if Keith has something, I've talked to Keith. I talk to him once every couple of months about some things. We need to bring it up to the committee, and we need to get it voted on, and allow. If we need to formalize it, I think that's a good thing. So if we have some minor holes in the rules that we need to refine to be more encouraging, then guys, god dang it, bring it up, because I'm operating at 30,000 feet, and if I'm missing something at 5,000, god dang, let's make it better. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how we got to where we're at.
So back on that, Regina commented that Arizona.
How much have you had a drink? Arizona. Go ahead.
Anyway,
Let's help their new shooters.
yes. So hold on, where is it? Arizona does that. That's the new word now. That's where Regina lives and her name. Arizona does that. Our club's goal is to teach new shooters how to be better. We assign 2 shooters to each squad who are pro or semi-pro. They help get newer shooters on target, build positions, etc. We've always done that and don't plan on stopping. And that's kind of like the spirit of the club series and the regional series and everything like that. I think the entire point of that should be to take your person who has never shot a match before, is trying to get into it, and build them up to be ready for the 2-day matches.
Yeah, Greg, I think what Regina's saying is ingrained in our culture across all of our regional 1-day matches. I really do. Now, maybe not the finales, right? Because it's the top 100 or so. But I see the K&M. I know it's at Alabama. I was just at Phil's MPA match. A lot of the guys were up and shooting a war rifle match, and I went down there, and I was shocked how many newer shooters that I saw there. And I was like, wow, Phil's really doing something right. So it is so intimidating to come to a match in itself as a new guy. And I saw that, and I saw Phil helping. He was a match director, and he was shooting, he was helping, he was doing it all. And so surprised that that any other place would be different. And I think if people see something different or witness something different, they need to call that match director, or they need to let me know, because I'll be happy to share that with their regional director, and then go down to that match director and be like, hey man, some of the new shooters aren't feeling welcome. Because I don't know a match director that's on a roster that would be like, whoa, that's not what we want to do, because these match directors have invested a ton of time, in many cases not worth the financial benefit they may have. And they want to put something on for people. They want that enjoyment. And so they want guys. If you look at K&M, like, to encourage new shooters, we cut the price almost in half. Hey guys, if you're a new shooter, you've never been here before, you don't need a buddy, you don't need anybody, man. Come on and at a discounted rate to encourage them. Because I know people look at K&M, they look at who they train, how people shoot or whatever, and so they're like, oh man, like, that's I'm not going to that place. I mean, our first rimfire match, we had a bunch of wives and kids are like, oh yeah, like, I wanted to shoot, but I was, Jared White's our rimfire director, and I'm like, hey, how come these people aren't shooting? They're like, oh, it's K&M. I thought it was gonna be super hard. I'm like, whoa. And I'm like, guys, we are we want to balance this out. Like, no, guys, you should shoot, come have fun. So it's a challenge. You just got to stay on top of it. But I think 99% of the time guys are getting it right. And if guys that aren't getting it, need to be called on it, because I think they want to get it. And I don't think this is a hard thing to do, so. Oh, here's the chat.
So who do you think is leading right now in all the different divisions? Who are your lead? Like, we've had a few matches, so who's ahead? Who do you think are the contenders for the season?
It's early, right? So I think that, so, I think the top 20, if you look at the top 20 guys going into the finale, any one of those guys or gals can absolutely win it, right? And at the end of the day, it's going to come down to their dedication and how much time they're putting in. If a guy can get to the range every day or every other day or a couple times a week, and put more time in, then you're going to see results. I mean, if you look at someone like Allison, like how can she's 16 or 17, forgive me, but if
I
you
think
can
she's
see a
15.
junior, is she? Oh, there's no way.
I
Really?
No,
Okay. If you can look at a junior shooter like Allison, she has parents that are very supportive, and she has a tremendous amount of uh, support there. She's training. She's shooting almost every single match. Where a lot of people would burn out on that. So I think all those shooters in the top 20, it's who can stay focused throughout the entire year. So Dave's up top, Justin's number 2, and Quinn Rogers in the AG Cup. There's only 2 matches. There's one more coming up, but I think by the time we get to Ken's match in Wisconsin, I think that'll probably we'll start seeing some leaders emerge. But there's a lot of guys that'll shoot that late as well. So it's a long year. The tactical is going to be pretty competitive. You got Corey, Adamski, Matt, Jeff Turnell, and then G and Larry D. So that's going to be, and I know Coop's probably going to be in there this year once he gets caught up. Doug looks to be where he's always at production. George has got 2 wins with a gas gun. I'm not sure who's going to give him a running, but I think that'll develop. Allison is really kind of separated herself as a top lady. Then Troy Lawton is our top senior. And then we have, our top semi-pro is Kyle Ponce right now, and then Andy Hawkins is marksman. I think that'll develop as the year goes. I do expect a rule change to see some of that, but I need to talk to the committee on that and see what they want to do there. And then in the Atlantic region, so we expanded a bunch of regions, right? So we did this per score funding, and we wanted to give back. Hey guys, what regions do you want? Let the match directors, let the shooters decide. And so we added 2 regions, one in the Great Lakes and one and this is based off shooters attendance and kind of match directors. Atlantic region, Mitch Big is leading, then Matthew Corso in Central, Nathan Kutchman in the Great Lakes, and then Eric Bowl in Midwest, Clint Adams in the Rocky Mountain, and then Sean Dahl in the North, in the New England region, which is one of our new regions. And then Keith Bacon's Hammer in the Northwest. He had a great match this weekend at War too. So he's shooting really hot right now. So it's so early, Jen, it's hard to tell. Tucker Schmidt in the Southeast is leading right now. And then the
Buddy
Southwest.
Tucker.
Yeah, is he a buddy of yours?
Yes, he's
I shot with him down in at Altus. Had a good time with him. I like the guy. Wish he wasn't so
very,
far away.
very down to earth, nice
Yeah.
fella.
Yeah. You get
and a
little competitive.
really good shooter.
We didn't have the best match, but it was fun shooting him for sure. And then David Christensen, and then all of our rimfire leaders are starting to stack out too. So I think it's too early. I think it's guys start now, and then the dog days of summer get to guys, and then guys start to maneuver. Some guys get better. Some guys put the guns down from the winter. There's guys I know there's shooters that people aren't even thinking about that might come back in and absolutely come back and make a claim. So that's why we have the series, guys. I equate a lot of stuff that we're doing to golf, right? You can be the best golfer in the world, but it doesn't mean you're going to win every tournament. We have a lot of shooters like that. So, it's going to be interesting. It'll be fun to watch. And a lot of people are going to take part in it. So it's exciting. So Jen, what are you looking at? Is someone texting you? Or someone upset what I said? Come on, lay it all out. Let's make this the most viewed.
Actually, that was my daughter who's going to come this weekend and see me.
Hey, Becca.
Yes, she's at college. And so she's like trying to figure out when she's coming to see me and when she's going to see dad. And so.
You tell Adam Leonberger, as soon as I have a free Sunday, I will get up to his place. Adam said what matches. I plan on going to Florida this weekend. And then I'm tied up for 2 training classes. I'll be at Alabama. I think I'm going to go to Justin's match. I know I'm going to Cairns. I'm going to Hornady. I don't know. My training schedule comes first at K&M. So, but I do plan on shooting as many as I can. But I will not compete in the finales because I'm putting them on. And it's just.
I'm going through the comments and all I see is Mike Rogan saying something about nude shooters. What? Greg, you've been reading this the whole time. Are you making sense of?
Dude, there are a ridiculous number of comments, and like half of them are important, and half of them are But yeah, I saw something about nude shooters, and I
Greg, you
think
got to get the good stuff, man. Get the drama, because there's all this, like, maybe Shannon should make a true production class and fake production. Okay, so guys, like, you still don't understand, but there's nothing I could do for you. I want to see TAC division grow. Shannon, is there an initiative you can give to shooters or MDs to promote growth? War Rifles Master Tuner had 16 TAC shooters this year, 4 registered, and only 3 actually shot. Can't rush. So no, there is nothing I can do to promote those divisions other than, if guys want to shoot production, they can. Guys want to shoot tactical, there's nothing I do. I could go do production and be like, hey, it's a $1,500 rifle, $1,000 rifle, and you can have a $1,000 optic. And you know what? Our numbers would actually decrease, because in the Pro Series, we already have the analytics. Tactical is what tactical is. I mean, there's, we did that for some of the military guys, or some guys that wanted to have to shoot that, either because they have in the past or they're currently. And the response is what it is. If guys want to shoot it and it fills a niche for them, go do it. There's a lot of, one of the best shooters in the country, Doug Koenig, shoots production, and so, it just depends on what people want to do. What'd you say, Jen?
Very well.
Yeah. So
he shoots it very well. So how about PRS Rimfire series? So has the finale been announced yet? The location?
Where have they been, Jen? Like, what are you doing? Like, it has been announced. It's going to be in Texas. Texas Precision Rifle Matches is going to host it. It's going to be awesome. I need to talk to those guys. I'm waiting on Adam. Adam, if you're listening, I think he has a document that kind of lays out the finale kind of requirements and how we're going to structure this one. So I don't have to be everywhere, and I know they're going to do good things. So it's very centralized for guys in the country. So 100, 200 shooters, depending on what they can handle. And well, their one-day matches or their normal matches have a high. So up to 200 shooters, maybe. I think it'll be very, very interesting. And for its first year, we did a kind of a soft launch in the late fall, and kind of revved that into this year, and the response has been incredible. So it's exciting to see how quickly we've signed up clubs and how quickly we're going. And so some things will even out, like in the South, I think we need to kind of grow our base a little bit. We have a lot of center fire guys, and so it's and then right now it's super, super hard. I want to go get a voodoo. Okay, roger that. Well, you need to wait 4 months. Well, season started. Well, wait 4 months, and you need to find ammunition. So despite all those things, guys are making it happen. And K&M, Jared's run 2 matches. We actually dedicated one of our whole carbine assault ranges to it, and it's an awesome venue. We have guys from ever. And Jen, be careful, because all these NRL guys and PRS guys are actually hanging out shooting together, and it's no big deal, So and they're doing a great job, and it's I'm proud of Jerry. He's putting on a good match, and we got a mover from Seth, which is a Northwest guy. Oh no, we got to be careful, But and so at D&M targets, and it works good, and it's growing rapidly. Guys, I think I think match directors are fine tuning their skills, especially the ones that are coming from centerfire. The ones that are switching over are, have it because they've been jonesying and asking for a little bit more freedom. And the centerfire guys are like, oh wow, and we're figuring stuff out. And I'll tell you, the committee did a phenomenal job. And as far as we had some guys at the K&M match, and it was we're helping little boys shoot, right? Because guys want to bring their little kids, because it's rimfire, and we have a bunch of top guys, Levi Wilson and whatnot, out there shooting. And hey, how do we get this right? How do we award the trophy? Because this kid did really good, but Dad helped him a bunch. And so all that stuff's getting flushed out, and good growing pains, and I think it's just a lot of fun. I remember the first time I kind of picked one up. I was like, man, I don't have time for this, man. Just run the match. And I picked one up, and I'm just watching that bullet fly from the time it left the barrel to the target. I'm like, oh man, I might not touch center fire for a while. This is I don't even have ear throw on.
Rimfire is great.
Yeah, no, it is.
Yeah.
mean,
No, you're a pro. It's low key.
I don't even
Um,
own a rimfire gun because I'm poor right now. It's great. I'm poor. And so I just go to
You,
matches
you always have an awesome, super
borrow
silent
his.
one to shoot. Thanks, GSL suppressors.
And then, well, not this week, but a lot of weeks I beat him with his own gun. So
Dude, this girl whoops my ass at my own match with my own rifle. She whoops
but that's
my
the
ass.
beauty of like rimfire, like centerfire. You can't really go to a match and be like, "Hey, you want to shoot a match? Come and you can shoot my gun." Because we're all like, "No, it has to cool off in between stages." But rimfire is, I mean, if you're interested in rimfire, I encourage anyone just to go show up at a match and be like, "I don't have a gun. Does anybody have one they could let me borrow?" And I promise you, there's probably somebody there that'll be like, sign up and shoot, and you can shoot my rifle.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the thing too, is with the and we didn't put it in the rules on purpose, is you could hot gun it. Like centerfire, you probably want to because you just torch and barrel, right? But rimfire, you could hot gun it pretty easy. Hey man, go ahead. Now I think
Yep.
as guys get a little bit more competitive, that's something that's going to come up. Like, oh dude, like Greg, yeah, take my gun. Here's my data. I was a tenth or two low. And then Greg goes up and cleans it. I think that's gonna, we might have to look at that in the future. But right now, that's it's not in the rules. So, Jen, is this chat Greg Cannon to everyone? Is that just us? So
That's just us. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right. I'm tracking.
Only us. That's for
Okay.
our.
So don't comment publicly on this last one.
Do not. No.
Okay, Roger. Because I was going to address that. Okay.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you
check.
That was just a FYI.
Yeah, you can type back in there if you want us to.
I got it. Okay.
Whatever you want.
Yeah.
You can type like F you, Jen. You can put whatever you want in the comments. There.
Right.
No
Yeah.
one can see
See,
it.
watch this. I could type this, and nobody knows what I just said.
Yeah, okay, that's awesome. For everyone, Greg just type penis. That makes me awkward. That's fine.
I said nobody will
Smile.
know about it, Shannon.
Yeah. So
This is what
okay, what else, guys? Yeah, guys, I don't have I know you guys think and I don't. So we can generally take a policy. Hey, man, guys, when I take shots at the PRS, like go ahead. Like we're gonna keep doing our thing because that's the best policy. Because when you try to hash stuff out in public, nobody wins. Everyone looks like crap. But we've done a lot, and our ears are open. If there's something that we need to do better for the sport and it's working together, I'll say it right now. Like, I got a call from a buddy that one of the leaders called him and wanted to talk about it. I'm like, hey, dude, call me up. Like, it's not that big of a deal. You want to do it in public, then go ahead. It's not going to get anywhere. But we've tried to do that. We're going to keep doing what we're doing. But we want what's best for the shooters, best for the sport, and if it can't work out, no harm, no foul. Like, it doesn't need to be a big deal. You guys go do your thing. We'll do our thing. Everything else in the entire country works in the precision rifle community works with no harm whatsoever. So if there's issue, it's not going to come from the PRS. Like, we don't. Why is no one asking them similar type questions? Or, hey, why don't you allow Sacramento or to do X, Y, and Z? No one asked that. So it's a little twisted, and we kind of let it go. So I'm kind of glad you brought it up, Jen. But I think when people that care, which most don't, to be honest with you, look at it, they're like, yeah, you know what, man, that's kind of a lot of crap. But yeah, I understand why he's doing that, or I understand why the purist does that. Like,
Well, I feel like there's a lot of chatter behind the scenes, and I'd rather just put it out there. And
no, I think
I'd much rather just have it. I mean, you know me. I'm not one to go on social media and comment my opinions. If I have an issue, I mean, there was one thing that I disagreed with you on, and I emailed you and told you I don't agree with this. And you
what was it? What was it?
I mean, it was like 2 years ago. We're not going to hash it out now.
Right, but would you exactly?
And
exactly.
we talked through it like two adults, because that's how I play. I don't play but with behind a Facebook keyboard. I'm going to put what I want to put up there. If I'm going to ask you something, it's going to be to your face. I'm never going to ask you something through a keyboard backhanded behind people. So to me, when people are asking all these questions, and you want to come on the show, I feel like we should put them out there and just address
Yeah, no, I'm glad you did, and I hope I explained it right. And I think that's when people, and I think that's why we're growing and people are so responsive, which is why there's more chatter, is because when people do things, correctly or with the proper intent, they're like, wow, like Shannon, like I sent him this note within hours. He called me. He's like, yeah, because if people really care, right, we're absolutely gonna like, hey, explain to me what I might not understand and help me get better. But a lot of the chat that you're talking about is like, hey man, like, and some people know this. I put it out publicly tonight, but all those things are true at the end of the day. Like, hey man, we've made a good, at a minimum. Let's say they're not true. At a minimum, we make a solid good faith effort to do everything we can multiple times. And we as a private organization, made up of committees and shooters, we all make decisions collectively. With a vote, and then obviously me at the head to make the decisions. Hey, this is what we want to do. I mean, I don't think there's been one match director, or if there is, I don't think there's been one match director that we have, that's run a successful match for 3 years, or 2 years or whatever. It's like, hey, I want to do this. It's since I've been in charge, it's always been like, hey, we don't want to do this. Now, have I had conversations with, hey guys, what do we have to do to get you fully on board? Absolutely, because we want to unify the sport. If I can't do it with their leadership, then I'll do it with the match directors, just like they're trying to do, but they get the no. So that's why you get all this chatter and people upset. Like, guys, you want to go run a match? Go run a match. I can go run a match at K&M any weekend I want, right? I can say, hey, this is going to be a team match and you got to bring a husband and wife team only. And if I think it's going to be successful, I can do it. The purist doesn't control anything. Right? Other who we sanction and who we don't sanction. So, and I'll tell you, I actually told all of our regional directors that no one will be unsanctioned. No one will not be approved without our notification. So that comes all the way up to the top because we will sanction everybody, regardless. I mean, if they got a 200-yard range and they're trying to do a center fire match, we might not. But, within reasonable things. So a lot of that stuff gets twisted. I'm sure there's another side of the story. Fine. Maybe the answer is somewhere in the middle, but it's not like an effort from not trying to work together and appear aside. But at the end of the day, we're trying all different avenues. We're open to everything. And in the meantime, we're just going to keep growing and unify through what we're doing. And it's been incredibly responsive so far. So, I don't think that's something our match directors, our shooters, our sponsors, or the PRS needs to apologize for, but it's also not a bad thing. It is what it is. There's a lot of good people that do that, and there's been a lot of hard work, and there's a lot to be proud of there, and they should be. And so, we wish them the best of luck. If they want to call, they can call. If they don't, then we'll see you on the firing line. No big deal. We're not sending you Christmas cards, but at the end of the day, also not giving you a whole lot of thought until you bring it up with your chatter. But anyway, it doesn't make us upset, and I'm actually glad you brought it up because it helps us, set the record straight. I'm sure if this creates more chatter and drama, have fun with it because I'm not, if someone truly cared, then they can call me and we can work. So anyway, I hope that helps. It is like super late though.
Yeah, it is. I have to be at work in 8 hours.
Yeah.
8 hours. Bite me. 6.5.
Yeah, more like 6.5 for me. I have to be at work at 7. So what is that? 6.5 hours?
No, 6.5 hours from now is 6 a.m., which is when I have to be at work. You have to be up in 6.5 hours. I have to be at work in 6.5.
Get dressed, something like that. Anyway,
Yeah.
I think we've pretty much answered everything except, is there anything new and upcoming for the PRS?
There is not, and I don't. The past 2 years, if you think about it, from where we start with the first show it came on or whatever, there's been a tremendous amount. So we are very happy with our initiatives, rimfire finales. We're incredibly busy. We had 2 new staff members, Andrew and Christy. Christy, we've even given her more responsibility. There's no way that Jewel, Travis, it's a huge team. We have a bunch of volunteers. We brought Adam on board as a rimfire director. We could always use help, and it's been awesome. But I don't expect any
big initiative. I have a couple notes here, and I hope some guys send me some emails after this if they have any questions or concerns, because I'd love to chat with them. But no, I don't expect any, nothing that we're going to talk about, you know, at this point. You know, it's very simple. Provide opportunity, keep score, get out of the master directors and shooters way, and you'll be amazed about what happens. If you make it about yourself, or if you make it about the PRS, which we don't, then, and also if you look at what do? We promote our sponsors, we promote our shooters, we promote our master directors. It's never about the PRS, right? And so it's just a winning formula. And I'm lucky to have Julie, because that woman is a rock star. So
Yeah, she pretty much is. I'm not gonna lie.
I told you on the phone, don't get rid of her. I mean,
no,
between me and you, why I said that, but don't get rid of her.
yeah, she's probably not in bed. She's probably listening in her office. So anyway,
I know I saw her commenting a while ago. She at least was listening.
Was she commenting? What was she saying?
I don't even remember. I have done such a bad job at paying attention to questions today, because
She probably hates me. I probably made some enemies this show. I didn't mean to, but things needed to be brought out that were like festering. So I feel like it's
no. I see, that's a problem. I don't have. I mean, I'm not going to get in a back and forth. Like, if you want to have someone on, like, no, this is okay, fine, man, fine, do your thing, man. Like, I'm moving on. Like, we moved on. You know, if you want to call, you want to chat, you really care, let's do it. But if it's going to be played out in public, and sure, I let out a lot tonight, but this is stuff that's 2 years old, so it's mildly interesting. But you know, things are what they are. Like, no one owes anybody anything. They owe their master directors and their shooters what their master directors want. We owe our master directors and shooters what they demand and expect. And they're doing what they want to do, and I need to do what we need to do. And you know what? It doesn't make anything unethical or immoral. And so, sure, there might be an opportunity later on. Maybe there's not. If there's not, guess what? There's no big deal. The world's not going to end because, you know, but it's, you know, the pressure shouldn't always come towards the PRS when we're doing nothing but what we're doing. But I think it's good to talk about. I'm actually glad that you asked that, because it kind of lets some stuff out there and people could be on it, but I don't think most people don't give a damn. They just want to go shoot, and that's what we should do. So,
I just want to go shoot, but I don't have any ammo or any money, so I'm not shooting. So
all right, well, I told you about K&M yesterday, so do your thing.
yeah. All right, so
All right.
let's wind it down to shout outs, because it's like 11:30. So Greg Cannon, what are your shout outs?
All right, I have shout outs to GSL Suppressors, talking about those silent NRL 22 matches right there. Can't hear nothing with it. Super quiet. Shooters and Sharpshooters of Augusta, our local indoor and outdoor ranges. PDC Custom, the most beautiful rifle chassis known to man, available in lime green and normal human colors. Shooters World Propellant. That's what I'm loading with. I get like single digit SDs. As with everything, it's starting to get a little bit harder to find, but it's still a lot easier to find than like Varget, just saying. Hunter's HD Gold. I am blind as a bat, but still don't require bifocals, but they offer prescription lenses and bifocals, and just like regular weird people that actually have good vision lenses, and Vortec, because you're actually supposed to clean these guns when you're done with them.
Imagine that. How about Shannon? You got any shout outs?
No, I
about
just,
that Julie K.
well, other than my wife, my family, look, the guys that, I mean, I'm not going to list all of our 52, 53 sponsors we have. Obviously, everyone knows Collis and our main sponsor. Everyone knows they're on our website. But guys, people need to, like the whole email thing or this NRL thing, guys, like, don't take yourself so seriously. Guys, go do what you want to do. Like, these are first world problems at the end of the day. If people want to do things correctly, well, then do things correctly and collaborate and have conversations. If not, then no big deal. But I want guys to go out there and shoot. You know, there's a lot of good things all around the board from everything. Let's just go have a good time. Let's go shoot. Let's find ammo. Let's share ammo. Let's support our sponsors. Let's not turn on them. Let's not turn on them because they're doing the best they can to support us. There's a lot of challenges in this world. Let's be lucky and thankful for what we have. Let's try harder to be more forgiving and to get after stuff, and let's enjoy each other's company in the firing line, and not turn our hobby, some of it's our livelihood, sure, into something that's unhealthy. And let's go enjoy the rest of the year. It's going to be an awesome year. The weather's warming up, so I'm excited about it.
Yep, I agree with that. And for my shout outs, I pared it down this year just because of life issues. And so thanks to Shooters of Augusta and Sharpshooters of Augusta, who have always supported me for like the last 7 years here locally. Impact Precision for this awesome new action right there that I'm excited to go shoot. I haven't even shot it yet. Night Force Optics, and lots of other amazing companies that I'm not going to go through and list because no one really wants to hear that. So that is going to be a wrap for tonight for episode 331 of the Shooter's Mindset. And I'm sure we'll have Shannon on again to talk about PRS in the near future and new things with it. So that is going to be a wrap for tonight, and we'll see y'all next week.